The United States Air Force celebrates its 63rd birthday today in Norman, Oklahoma, as the Falcons meet the number 9 Oklahoma Sooners, presented today in brilliant high definition by Philips Televisions. Today, undefeated Air Force, the leading rushing team of the nation, invades Norman, Oklahoma, taking on an experienced Sooner squad, aiming for a national title.
A byproduct of last season's injuries, this season we are fielding an experienced team. Experience at quarterback, at receiver, at offensive line, and I have leadership in the huddle.
Quarterback Landry Jones has the confidence of his teammates, while junior receiver Ryan Broyles has torched opposing secondaries. And senior DeMarco Murray is the nation's active leader in career touchdowns. The Sooners can score. Air Force has had great success eating up clock and turf. Two undefeated teams set to battle. Air Force storms into Norman to take on 9th-ranked Oklahoma. Exciting college football starts now. It's a war in Norman as the Sooners get ready for their 71st consecutive sellout. And we're going to be watching one of those talented running backs of the country, DeMarco Murray. Welcome to Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. Big 12 College Football Saturday presented by Philips Televisions as Air Force hits the road taking on number 9 Oklahoma. Hi, everybody. Joel Myers alongside Joel Klatt, and welcome to Norman for a matchup of the Big 12 of the Mountain West Conferences. Two teams, Oklahoma and Air Force, coming off big wins and explosive days offensively last Saturday. And while Oklahoma was at home, they truly dominated Florida State. It was almost a career day for Landry Jones.
Well, and he's had a lot of great days. That's what Coach Stoops told us during the week about Landry Jones. You know, he struggled in the opener, Joel, but he's too good of a quarterback to struggle. He proved that last week against Florida State. Strong arm, very accurate, maybe not as accurate as Sam Bradford, but very good nonetheless. He was very good last week. 380 yards, 4 touchdown passes against a very fast Florida State defense. They're looking for him to play that well again today against Air Force.
Well, the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs last Saturday beat BYU, finally beat BYU for the first time since 2003, and did absolutely anything they wanted to on the ground.
Well, and that's what it's all about for them, is running the football. 423 yards a game. That leads the country as far as rushing the football by almost 100 yards over Georgia Tech, who runs it very well. They play very good as far as formations, personnels, screwing with your mind if you're the defense. It starts with the fullback, Jared, too. He's very good. Their leading rusher. He's going to get that fake right off the bat from Tim Jefferson. As Tim Jefferson comes down the line, he's got the ability to pitch it or keep it himself. Asher Clark on the outside. He's fast. He's battling an ankle injury this week. He's good to go today. But if they out-leverage you on the outside, it can be a very long day. Brent Venables, the Oklahoma coordinator, knows that his Sooners have their work cut out.
When we come back, we'll join Darren Horton in our College Football Saturday studio. You're watching Big 12 College Football Saturday, presented by Philips Televisions.
This is Big 12 College Football Saturday presented by Philips Televisions. The number 1 rushing attack in college football, the Air Force Falcons venture into Norman, where defensive end Jeremy Beal and the 9th-ranked Sooners await. Welcome inside our Big 12 College Football Saturday studios. I'm Darren Horton. In the final right now, it's time to go to Norman, where the Sooner faithful are on the edge of their seats. It's number 9 Oklahoma against the number 1 rushing attack in college football. The kickoff next on Big 12 College Football Saturday, presented by Philips Television.
The Oklahoma Sooners looking for their 33rd consecutive win on their home field. And they make their way out. Temperature just about 90 degrees, and here comes the Air Force Academy. And we remind you, today's game is being shown on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the United States Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries aboard ships at sea. They are watching today in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. Troy Calhoun knows what it's all about. Air Force Academy graduate back in 1989 and starting at quarterback in 1986 for his former head coach, who's here today, Fisher DeBerry. So what an experience for Troy to come back, and he was also stationed here. Part of his service was here in Oklahoma City. As we head downstairs now to Jim Knox. Knoxy,
Coach, this has to be a special day. You broadcast on the American Armed Forces Network. Also, your old coach is here in attendance watching the game. Air Force is celebrating a birthday. What does this all mean to you?
Well, it's every day is a special day when you get a chance to live in the United States of America. It's because of those men and women all over the world that make moments like this possible.
Now talk about Oklahoma. They've won 32 straight home games. How do you beat them on their home turf?
They're a good team. You know what? Air Force is a pretty good team too. So it's got a chance to be one heck of a football game.
Best of luck, Coach. Thank you, Joel.
All right, Jim. And he's got a good football team. He's got a team that took apart BYU, but now how do they adjust to the heat, the humidity? Because they usually play at better than a mile high in elevation in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, about 7,000 feet there in Colorado Springs. So a lot of them have told us this week, Joel, that, hey, the heat might be bad, yes, here in Oklahoma, but we train at altitude, so we'll be ready.
Well, Colorado, our Air Force Academy rather, won the toss, and they deferred to the second half. So Soderberg is going to kick it away. DeMarco Murray, Moses Madu wait back deep, and it's going to be Murray from the 1. Coming up the right hash. Nice lane over to the right side. Good return all the way out to the 40-yard line. So solid field position for Oklahoma. And quarterback Landry Jones coming off a phenomenal effort over Florida State as Cooks made the stop. Landry Jones last week, 30 of 40, 380 yards, and most of it, they turned it off. Most of it came in the first half. And Joel, you know about rhythm, you know about pace and tempo, because they will go with rhythm.
And they're going to come out right out of the gate. That's what you got to, essentially, you got to get over that if you're the Air Force Academy and just play football right from the get-go.
It'll be Murray over to the left side and met on the outside by YY Ode, the inside linebacker, a junior from Spring Lake Park, Minnesota. And he makes the stop as we look now at the starting 11 for Phillips Television. We talked about Landry Jones. Experience over there on the right side for Mensick, and in the backfield, DeMarco Murray. We talked about him. Millard is a true freshman fullback, and they like what they have in their fullback. Now, wide side of the field. Man, going for the first down is the tight end. That is James Hanna taking it in, the junior from Flower Mound, Texas. And where will they mark it? Just short, just past the 49. Defensively, the experience in the 3-4 alignment, don't forget, is Rick Ricketts. He has led the lineman in stops last year, also in sacks. Their backers, Andre Morris. He was third on their team in stops last year, a 3-year starter. And they've got experience, 3-year starters on the outside, Reggie Rembert and Anthony Wright Jr. And they've got the first down on a quick count. It'll be a first down to the 48 of the Air Force Academy. So DeMarco Murray picking it up in the opening 90 seconds of play in Norman, Oklahoma.
Behind that.
They'll keep it on the ground with Murray. Big lane over to the right side and stumbles his way to the 42 for 6. Our keys to the game with Joel Klatt, presented by Chrysler. Joel?
Well, first of all, you got to start on the defensive side because that's where Air Force is so good. You got to stop Jared, too, the fullback. Landry Jones, stay hot from last week, and no freebies. A lot of times this Air Force offense has people running wide open down the football field. You can't allow that to happen if you're the OU defense.
On second and short, Amac, the inside backer, guy that they say is very consistent, a junior from Pleasanton, California, and he played in a big high school program at De La Salle. It's Murray breaking tackles. He's got a first down on third and short, all the way down to the 26-yard line. Hennessy caught up with him, the senior outside backer. So a steady diet up DeMarco Murray. Well, you and I talked about it. They've got the size.
Well, it's not just a steady diet. It's a fast diet. At the line of scrimmage, the tempo of the Oklahoma Sooners, they want to snap the ball about 85 times here today.
Senior from Norman, Moses Madu takes over in the backfield. Little play fake action. Here comes the heat, and there's the sack. On the outside, Patrick Hennessy. He gets to the quarterback very quickly. It's a guy who was out last year, missed all but 2 games with a shoulder injury.
Dialed up a good one on that play, just overloaded that left side of the Oklahoma offense. That's where the play fake was going, Joel. Sometimes you don't have enough blockers, especially when you're trying to get outside of the pocket. It's a reach and run for the offensive line. They weren't able to pick it up.
Broyles over to the wide side, the top side of the screen. He's their leading receiver. Now, one of the best they've had in recent years at Oklahoma. Wearing number 85, a junior from Norman. Let's see if they find him on second and long, second and 19. Underneath, wide open is Kenny Stills, making a miss. He's got a first down inside the 15. True freshman from Southern California, from Encinitas, around San Diego. Well, they've got some true freshmen.
They have some great true freshmen. We saw one last week with Mike Davis at Texas. And Kenny Stills, he is equally as good as Mike Davis at Texas. Finds the hole, gives Landry Jones a frame. First down, Sooners.
Moving the pocket by design. Landry Jones looking at Stills. Instead, it'll be a grab by Broyles. He stepped out of bounds. There's a flag on the play. And he may have stepped out of bounds before he made the catch and came back in. Field judge threw the flag.
And he wasn't forced out. So he steps out on his own. It's going to be illegal touching.
Illegal touching. Offense, number 85. Receiver was first to touch the pass after having gone out of bounds. Lost it down at the previous spot. Second down.
Got to understand where you're at. Ryan Broyles on the sidelines. There's where he steps out. Not forced out by a defender. If you're forced out, Joel, you can come back into the field to play and be the first to touch the football. But on that play, he is now at least an ineligible receiver, if you will, down the football field.
Cameron Kenny up top on the wide side of the field. Coming off one of his best days as the Sooner. They throw it the other way. It's Stills. On 2nd and 10 on a loss of down. He's got it down to the 6 and is short of the first down by a yard.
Really love that route from Kenny Stills because he gave his body and slowed down in the hole versus zone defense. Didn't run through and cover himself up. Give the quarterback the frame of your body, and Landry Jones accurate enough to get the football on him.
From the 6, 3rd and a yard, Oklahoma started their first 4 possessions with 4 touchdowns last Saturday. Trying to duplicate at least the opening drive today. Megan Madew's got the first down, powers his way inside the 3. So Moses Madew, and he had not had many carries coming in. But after the steady diet they gave DeMarco Murray on a very warm, muggy day in Norman, Oklahoma. See a tandem at tailback, I would imagine.
Madew has been just as impressive as Murray in fall camp.
Madew will get a little counter action. He's belted and driven back. What a play by Rick Ricketts, the senior from San Jose.
And he's the guy, Joel, up front for Air Force. If they're going to have some success stopping the run game for Oklahoma, Rick Ricketts is going to have a big day. 6'3", 260 pounds, 14 tackles so far on this season.
It'll be 2nd and goal outside of the 3. Short field to begin with. Don't forget Oklahoma on the nice return by DeMarco Murray. Started at their own 40. Murray back in, and Murray into the end zone. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
As is the case so many times with Oklahoma, opening up with a touchdown drive. The tempo, they overwhelm you. They've got great size and athleticism up front, and that tempo just wears you down. Air Force was trying to do their best to bow their neck, unable to do it.
Jimmy Stevens in. Patrick O'Hara, the sophomore from Topeka, injured in pregame warm-up. So Jimmy Stevens, who's kicked before, in for the point after, and it's a beauty. I watched Jimmy yesterday in practice, and especially punting the football. If they need somebody to back up Tressway, and Tressway, all Big 12 performer potentially, well, Stevens can do that as well. So nice to have an insurance policy. What a dominating effort to start by Oklahoma. Overpowering Air Force early. Big 12 College Football Saturday is presented by Phillips Television. So amazing, you won't be able to take your eyes off of it. And brought to you in part by Hass Avocados. Kick off your party with fresh, creamy Hass Avocados. Nothing else will do. Well, already a 7-0 lead. Tinker Air Force Base, not far away in Oklahoma City. We're about a 30-minute drive from Tinker. And we are celebrating the 63rd anniversary of the Air Force. Today is the exact date it was formed, back in 1947. Joel Myers, Joel Klatt, Jim Knox back in Norman, Oklahoma. One of the great atmospheres, one of the great environments. Talked about it a little bit last week when we were in Austin. Big 12 college football, great sights. And when you go to Austin, Texas, here in Norman, Oklahoma, throw Texas A&M in there as well. College Station. That's on your must-see list when going to different college football venues.
You got to include maybe even some others. You know, Lincoln is a great environment to play a football game. Boulder, even though they're not playing very good right now, that's a great place to watch a football game. Really all the venues, and everybody gets it. They do a great job on game day.
John Warzika going back with Cody Getz, and Tressway handles the kickoffs anyway. It's not O'Hara. That is Getz over to the far side. Warzika, home run threat over to the near side. and Way will kick it. Warzika coming up on the run, the 10 with some momentum, looking for Lang, and he's got a good return across the 25 as Warzika is pounded down at the Air Force 28. And for the Air Force Academy, a dual threat, a guy who can throw the ball better than quarterbacks that they have had recently in the past, and that is Tim Jefferson, the junior from Atlanta. Out of his 20 starts, a 14-6 career record. And if you're thinking about playing catch-up, well, last year's best passing day was 161 yards against Houston in their bowl game at a very high percentage, 10 of 14. Right now, early catch-up for Jefferson with Asher Clark and Jared 2 in their option I formation. Now they bring Halderman into the backfield. Jefferson in trouble and on his way down. Making the stop, it was David King, the sophomore from Houston. Our Phillips Television's starting 11. We saw Jefferson. A.J. Wallerstein, experience over on the right side, the junior from Canyon Country, California, in the Los Angeles area. Clark and 2, we'll talk about them a lot. Warzika, big average when he runs the football. And in the option, nothing doing for Jefferson. 2 at the most, up to the 31. Stacy McGee driving him down, the sophomore, Muskogee, Oklahoma. Now defensively for the Sooners, ready for the hurry up, and so are we. Quick rhythm offenses, both of them. Beal over on the left side, second team all-conference last year. The experience of Travis Lewis, and then in the secondary, don't forget Fleming and Hurst already with picks this year. Fleming's got 2 over the first 2 games, making it his first season as a starter. It'll be third down and about 8. Grab is made and a first down. Taking it in for the Air Force Academy. And a big grab on third down to keep Oklahoma off the field. Zach Houck, the wide receiver at 6'4", a junior from Dayton.
This is not what they want to do, is throw the football. But Jefferson, nice drop back. Again, finding that zone. Cal finds it, settles down, gives him the frame, ends up getting a first down. They got to stay on schedule better on first and second, though, in order to have success today.
Warzika, the motion man. Jefferson's got a lane, and good yardage for Jefferson. Out of bounds with a flag on the play. As he gets about 7, almost 8. Now our Chrysler keys to the game.
Holding. Offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Call it on Jordan Eason, sophomore guard out of Smithfield, Virginia. Back to our Chrysler keys for Air Force.
Well, for Air Force, you got to spread it around offensively. Warzika, Clark, 2, Vogler, they all got to get touches. They've got to be successful today. You got to take shots down the football field as well. This is going to be very important for them to try to essentially get in the minds of Oklahoma and then limit the Oklahoma possessions by this running offense. 423 yards per game. Limit those possessions for Landry Jones, and you could have a chance.
Coming into the game, Jared 2, the fullback, is the leading rusher. Going to be Jefferson. Nice toss. Big hole. Warzika off to the races he goes. Across the midfield stripe. And a first down inside Oklahoma territory, close to the 30. Forced out by Quentin Carter. He only averaged 11 a carry coming in on plays like that.
What a terrific block on the outside. I believe that was Asher Clark, the tailback, who's going to lead this play out on the outside. Good pitch off of Jeremy Beal, the defensive end. And then here we go. That's the block on the outside. This is the key block that springs you on the outside. Not very good discipline by Oklahoma. Not as many guys out there that need to be. Too many guys paying attention to the fullback.
That's Brent Venables, the defensive coordinator. And throwing is Jefferson, waiting for his man to cross, and he's got him. Count again. A first down at the Oklahoma 10. Patience by Jefferson.
Great patience and terrific blocking up front for Air Force's offensive line. You would think that that's where they would have trouble with the more athletic Oklahoma front. But when you're constantly, Joel, trying to look in the backfield and see what's going on, you don't play quite as fast. That's what happened to the defensive line on the last play.
It's a first and goal. Air Force has it and knows the football across the 10. How tight is this formation? They've got Halderman, 3 in the backfield, running over to the right side, and Clark can't get out of the grasp with the man going down, and that was Jonathan Nelson who slowed him down. Tony Jefferson cleaned up.
Hurst as well. did a great job. The offensive line forever, this is what I was just saying, averaging 6'3", 252 pounds. That's an offensive line from 30 years ago, not today. They've got to get low. They've got to get into the legs of Oklahoma in order to get them off the line of scrimmage.
Clark on the quick toss sweep. Not much blocking, but he still gets 5, a quick 6. They are a real up-tempo, and you talk about the size of the offensive line, they're quick guys.
Well, and they're precise in what they do. They are very disciplined, and those guys up front for Air Force, what they do, Brent Venables told us, the defensive coordinator of Oklahoma, they get into the legs of the offensive line. They're not just up there fighting up top in a strength war. They get down, they get dirty down low, and they do a great job.
Started back at the Air Force 28. It's going to be 2, the fullback. He just tries to blast it in. He stopped shy by 2 yards, just outside of the 2, and a field goal try coming up for the Air Force Academy. But give them credit. They're set way back off schedule, snap-wise, because of the penalty, and they get it back with the throws downfield.
Well, a couple of nice pass plays from Tim Jefferson to Cloud down the football field. Air Force doing a nice job on 3rd down, converting a couple of times, and now with an opportunity to put points on the board.
It'll be like an extra point, a 20-yard field goal attempt for Soderberg. And on its way, points on the board. So early, Air Force responds with 5:34 left in the opening 15 minutes of play. After the quick 60-yard drive of the Oklahoma Sooners, Air Force has an answer. Oklahoma with an early 4-point lead over Air Force before the Sooners get it back with our Hass Avocado kickoff. Let's go down to Jim Knox.
Oh yes, Joel, don't forget to get the party started with Hass Avocados, creamy Hass Avocados. Nothing else will do. Super Sooner man enjoying that. You like that? There we go, big guy. Just takes the hair right off your head. Way to go. Hass Avocados, they're loving it, guys.
Looks pretty good. Now one guy that kind of responded like it was a jalapeno on an avocado.
I was going to say, I love guacamole. I love avocados. I could use a couple up in the booth right now.
Joel, we were at the practice yesterday for the Oklahoma Sooners, and I say practice because it's not a walkthrough for those guys. They take it seriously, and boy, did they try to get ready for something they don't normally see, which is an attack like Air Force, and Air Force was effective.
They absolutely were effective, and they didn't care if they had a negative play or even got stopped for no gain. They just came back, lined it up, and came right back at the Sooners. Loved that scoring drive, and it was a good answer after OU went right down the field on their first drive.
Moses Madu back deep along with Cameron Kinney, and the short one right over the head of Kinney, who'll get it off the deflection off the hand of Madu, and he'll be down in a hurry. What great field position defensively now for Air Force. So the squib, because they didn't kick it deep the last time, with Soderberg, and now it paid off. A hot one to handle, a bad hopper for Oklahoma and Kenny, and Oklahoma's going to have it back at their own 10-yard line. Well, they don't make you comfortable at all in any area of the game. That's one of the things that the Oklahoma coaches kept emphasizing to us.
They're the most difficult team to prepare for in the country, both because of their offense and what they're able to do defensively and in the special teams.
They're going to spread things out deep in their own territory. It'll be Murray, and Murray's not going anywhere. Shut down completely. Making the play, Waiwaiole, the inside backer. As we reminded, the 1st and 10 line is brought to you by Phillips Televisions. So Waiwaiole on the stop after he was slowed down. It's a loss of 2. It'll be 2nd and 12 back at the 8. Jones looking on the slant that was taken away, and he's going down. So he looked at the quick slant over to the left side. That was gone.
A young quarterback and an inexperienced quarterback would have thrown that ball, but you look at what Air Force is dealing with. Their defensive line averages 6'3", 261. That's 40 pounds and 2 inches on the average man on the offensive line for Oklahoma. That is quite a discrepancy, but they're playing well, and it starts with Rick Ricketts, number 90. He is a nasty player. He gets after it. Great motor down low.
It's a 3-4 lineman, don't forget. Here comes the heat. Landry Jones gets it away for Kenny and overshoots him. Good coverage on that side of the field. Josh Hall, one of the nickelbacks in there. So they had Kenny all turned around. But I bring up the 3-4. Now, a lot of teams go to a 3-4.
Yeah.
Eventually, they don't start in a 3-4, but Air Force starts in it, and you don't see it that much.
Well, it's tough on base down because you don't see it on base down that much. But in nickel situations, Joe, you're going to see that in the Big 12. But this is exactly what Air Force wants, limiting your possessions, an empty possession for OU, and now Air Force is going to have a chance to go down and take the lead.
Tress Way, phenomenal his first 2 games. John Davis is back deep along with Reggie Rembert. Line drive. And put on the ground by Davis. He gathers it in. A lucky hop. Right back to Rembert make it. The return man. So they'll have it way back inside the 40. It's still a 4-point lead for Oklahoma. Welcome back once again to Norman, Oklahoma. Air Force about to get it back in good field position, and a solid start for the Falcons offensively on their first drive, Joel.
Started with Warzika on the outside. The long run helped out by a great block on the outside by Asher Clark. That's what got Air Force going, and then Tim Jefferson, off of some play action, finds Kauth down the football field, leading to a Soderberg field goal. Bob Stoops knew he was in for a tough one.
And taking periods and blocks of time to work all of the different triple options, all the different formations. And that style of offense is not something you see very often at all, and we won't see it the rest of the year. So it is a major challenge.
Difficult proposition because you don't see it, and they use some practice time even in August before their first 2 games just to work on the option.
Very rare. I mean, teams, they don't even prepare for Oklahoma early, but they did for Air Force because of the unique nature to this offense.
Single to the backfield for Jefferson. And a 3 wide receiver set, but they'll run. Jefferson out of the wing. And he gets about 4. It doesn't look like much, but 4 or 5, and they're on schedule as he's brought down by a redshirt freshman out of San Antonio's New Braunfels, and that's Tim Ward.
That's the tough part about it. Ward does everything right, stays on his key, gets the tackle, but they gain 4 yards, and they're in a perfect position to run their offense.
Get up to the line in a hurry. It'll be 2nd and 6. And it's not a hurry up, but as their coaches told us earlier in the week, they're usually off by 10 still on the clock. And that is the case once again, just about 10 on the clock on the snap. 2. Powers his way across the 45 to the 46. So 4 and 4, and now can they get 2 more? Jared to the fullback, the leading ground gainer coming in, a senior from Park City, Utah.
It's only the 4th possession of the game. Air Force is 2nd. OU has had 2, and there's only about 3 minutes left in the first. That's what I'm talking about, limiting the possessions of Oklahoma. That's what Air Force does such a great job of, eating up clock and eating up yards.
The run wars Zika into the backfield. Give it to Clark. He's got a nice hole. He's into the secondary and barely tripped up with a first down across the midfield stripe. So there are so many little wrinkles to these sets.
In the motion and the different sets, that's what they talked about. Eye control for Oklahoma. You see the great blocking up front, creating the seam. Clark gets it done. I don't see anything from Clark's right ankle. Beal is having a hard time with Arndt on the outside. Beal is supposed to, he's supposed to be kind of an all-league type player, but this low, small, quick offensive line is giving him trouble.
Halderman once again the motion man. And the goal on the reverse. Outside it goes, Hunter. And they stayed at home, didn't they, on that play? Strong safety Jonathan Nelson drives him back. No gain on a little option in reverse.
Mikael Hunter scored on this play a week ago. The reverse, they're running the option, and they try to get you on that misdirection. Flip it to Hunter as he's coming around from his wide receiver position back to the right. But a good job staying home and being disciplined by OU.
Well, the 2nd and long. Jefferson 2 of 2 to start. Both going to count. His tall wide receiver. To the fullback. He just slides between his tackle and guard for about 4. Give him 5 actually, up to the 45. So 3rd down in Oklahoma territory. You talked about, and Kevin Wilson talked about it, the offensive coordinator of Oklahoma. They minimize your possessions. So there's you magnify everything you do offensively, because normally Oklahoma gets a lot of possessions. If they get 4 to 5 a half, they'll be fortunate.
Well, they wanted those 80 to 85 snaps. They're not going to get that today. I can guarantee you that.
It'll be third and a little more than 6. Right side blocking out in front, and another first down for Air Force. Boy, they make it look easy, don't they? Warzika again.
They sure do. And they run the same play to the opposite side that they got the great third down conversion or the long conversion on in the first drive, allowing Clark to get out in front from his tailback position. This is what Jefferson does a great job of, forcing the edge, pitching it outside, creating outside leverage on the defense. Bob Stoops cannot be happy with what he's seeing from his defense right now.
First down, Air Force. Oklahoma 33. Little play action deception going down the middle, looking for his wideout, and it's batted away at the last second from Folger. Well timed by Jamel Fleming.
Vogler 6'5", 215. He's a big wide receiver, slow to get up right now in the end zone. Came down very awkwardly, possibly on his left shoulder. Could have just gotten the wind knocked out of him, but this is what they want to do, take shots down the field. A couple of play-action fakes, stand in the pocket. Jefferson does a nice job standing in the pocket in the face of pressure and delivers a great football down the field in the perfect spot, and Vogler is just unable to come down with it, but you see him land a little awkwardly on that left side. Hopefully he's okay, because he's their down the field threat. He's who they want to go down the field to in order to keep this Oklahoma defense off of their front five, off of their front offensive line. Get them backed off so that you can continue to run that option.
So right now, Air Force giving Oklahoma everything they want early in this game. Don't forget, since Bob Stoops took over, Oklahoma is 68-2 on their home field.
That is amazing.
It's hard to believe. Cuddy gets lines up in the backfield, along with Jefferson. Run Halderman, and Getz is going nowhere. On second and long, spins for 2. It'll be down to the 31. Brought down by David King, very athletic end. But unfortunately, Oklahoma has a young man down, Travis Lewis, who's heart and soul to their defense, a weak side backer. First team All Big 12 performer last year.
Looking at that left leg, you hope it's just an impact of a helmet, but and it have a hard time getting up. You'd hate to have Lewis go down for an extended period of time. He's such a great leader for this team vocally on defense, not only for the defense, but really for the whole team.
You're facing a speed offense, as you mentioned, the vocal leader and one of their best players out of their 11 defensively for Bob Stoops.
Yeah, I can't seem to shut my mouth, and it gets me in trouble sometimes. Or it's kind of good with the position I play. I like to talk a lot of trash and everything, but sometimes it can get me in trouble because I get in these battles with my position coach, and he won't let me win.
Can't afford to lose him.
Nope.
And he hobbles off, but fortunately on his own.
Brought up in the conversation last year for Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. He has 39.5 tackles for loss coming into this game in his career. An outstanding football player, an all-league performer, and a guy who understands this defense. And now you're sitting there with a redshirt freshman, Tom Ward, and Mike linebacker trying to orchestrate this defense versus the very tough to decipher Air Force offense.
Bringing Corey Nelson in his stead. Jefferson fakes it, dumps it. Warzika can't make a miss. What a play by the freshman out of Chula Vista, California, Tony Jefferson, who started the opener when they opened in a nickel.
And people were raving. All the coaching staff, both sides were raving about Tony Jefferson, the true freshman. I was very excited to come out here and watch him play. Throws his body around, nose for the football. They love this kid, and you know what they said? In the future, superstar written all over this kid.
Very impressive start. Falcons aren't intimidated at all, are they? Down by 4. We'll come back. That's the end of the first quarter as you're watching Big 12 College Football Saturday, presented by Phillips Televisions. Goal try with a slight breeze at his back for Eric Soderberg, who was second team All-Mountain West Conference last year. He had a long of 50 yards last season. This is actually going to be a 49-yard attempt. He's already got a 20-yarder, and now can he make it a one-point game in the final snap of the first quarter? It's on its way, and he's blocked it out to the right. Plenty of distance. Wrong direction. never got it to draw. So missed 49-yard field goal by Soderberg, and at the end of the 15 minutes of play, it's official now with another flyby from Tinker Air Force Base. First quarter is complete, 7-3, Oklahoma, the number 9 team of the nation, up by 4. We get ready for the start of the second quarter. Our DirecTV game summary, and Air Force doing what they needed to do. Kept Oklahoma's offense off the field.
Limit the possessions. That's exactly what they've done. You know, they're going to own the ground game battle, but I've been impressed so far with their defense. I think that's a surprise for me, their defensive front.
DeMarco Murray on first down, ridden down from behind by Rick Ricketts. So from the 32, maybe a yard to the 33, Ricketts on top of the situation again. So we head down to Jim Knox. Knoxy.
Okay, Joel, Travis Lewis should be okay. Took a real hard hit in the shin. They taped it up, really taped it up heavily. He'll be back on the field, guys.
All right, Knox. Thank you, Jim. 2nd and 9. Landry Jones looking over the middle, little pop, and put on the ground. They'll say incomplete. Out of the hands of DeMarco Murray. Phillips Television game break time as we go to Darren Horton. Darren.
Joel, in Seattle, Nebraska freshman Taylor Martinez with 2 touchdowns, but here comes the Huskies Heisman candidate, Jake Locker, 7 yards on the ground for the touchdown. Right now, 14-7, Nebraska with the lead. Joel?
All right, Darren, had a feeling it was going to be a shootout going in along Lake Washington. It'll be a big 3rd down coming up now for Landry Jones. Setting up the screen. Blocking's not there at all. Icard, the redshirt freshman from Oklahoma City, couldn't get over there. Lindsey was, though, for Air Force. 3 and out for the 2nd consecutive time for the Sooners.
They really like Brian Lindsey. 6'1", 210 pounds, a very steady player, downhill type of player, and you saw it on that last play. Does a sensational job of covering that outside alley and getting up, and is a sure tackler.
Tress Way in to punt it away once again. Reggie Rembert back deep, along with John Davis. No pressure on the punter. And Way bombs out of beauty. It'll be Rembert holding on this time to the 19. Good coverage downfield, though. So Oklahoma gets down there real early. Special teams coverage, Ronell Lewis. Falcons have it back. Team mascot that definitely flies for free, the Falcon of the Air Force Academy. Well, tomorrow on Fox NFL Sunday, Bears looking to stay undefeated. I know it's deep into the season, isn't it? They take on the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo. How do they handle it in the final snap of the first half? We'll find out tomorrow. Our coverage begins noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific for Fox NFL pregame show. It's all brought to you by the new Ford Edge Drive 1. And check your local listings for the games in your area. Surprise so far in Norman. Oh, granted, Oklahoma is up 7-3, but the Air Force Academy is controlling the football. They've got it back at their own 20. So an impressive start for the Sooners, but 3 and out on each of their last 2 possessions. Lewis is back into the game. Fullback Jared, 2 breaking tackles. There's a good reason he leads the Air Force Academy in rushing so far this season. Just bangs his way out for 9, almost 10, the senior from Park City.
The last thing that you want is the fullback to get going in the option offense, because that means you got to start allowing your nickel back. You see Tony Jefferson right there. Start squeezing down. The outside is going to open up.
Quick toss on the outside. Halderman. Boy, what rhythm. You talked about it. I think the key was the word you said, precise, the way they do things.
Very precise. They understand what they're trying to do. They're very good at getting in and out of different personnel groups as well as formations. And Asher Clark, who's a terrific running back for this team, has been out on the lead block for guys like Warzika a couple of different times. Another terrific block on Tony Jefferson on the outside.
We're going to be joined by somebody who knows all about the option and just a little bit of former Sooner head coach. Right now, though, the Falcons on 2nd and about 5. Again, fullback gets the first down, hammers it. Ward finally drives him down. Middle linebacker, but Jared, 2. Positive yardage again.
28, Travis Lewis for OU is going to come out of the ball game right now. That shin is just not where it needs to be, especially from his will linebacker position. That's a guy that's going to be responsible for those A and B gaps, and you can tell right now he's not where he needs to be.
Sooners short a man defensively as they run real quickly out there. Corey Nelson.
Timeout. Oklahoma, they're first of the half.
A little bit too late, though, so Brent Venables and the Sooners needed to use the first half timeout. 2.5 minutes gone by, and we'll be right back to Norman. But the Sooners up by 4. Two and a half minutes gone in the second quarter. Sooners still up by 4. Well, the 74-75 Sooners are being honored this weekend. 74 Sooners under head coach Barry Switzer. Well, it was probation team, and some say the greatest team nobody saw because they were not on TV that year. They finished number 1 for Coach Switzer. Joe Washington running it in there. How about Dewey? Leroy Selman. Good reason to celebrate. Great days here in Norman, Oklahoma. They continue now under Bob Stoops, but from 1973 to 1988, they were under the guidance of Barry Switzer, and they were strong days, Coach.
We had a lot of good players. We had good coaches and good players, and we had a lot of fun. We had a great run.
Yeah, you had a great run, and last night you had a celebration here, and so many of the guys made it back for you.
We had 90 back here. Joe Washington, who was a great player on both those teams, he organized it. He works for our university. It was last night, and we had 90 guys back. It was really, really wonderful evening. We had a lot of fun.
Now, the stories at events like that, I know when I get around some of the guys that I've played with, you sit down and you just tell story after story. How was that night?
Dredges up, reunions bring back reflections.
That's right.
And it's what it does, and it's what it's all about. And we had a wonderful time. I love what they do on offense. They've had the ball from 9:40 Air Force, and that's what wishbone teams do to you.
They
control the ball and eat the clock up. And this bunch here, doesn't have a guy that probably could start for Oklahoma.
Right.
Really.
Right.
But they make better great points. I bet you most of them.
I'm glad you said it.
Well,
we couldn't get away with that.
Well, I understand that, but I can't. I don't work for a college president or Board of Regents anymore.
12 Big 8 titles, including the 2 teams who were here last night. The 74-75 Sooners is at second and long. And I want to get back to that conversation about your offense and the wishbone attack as we continue. With former head coach Barry Switzer, and that'll give us time to talk about it. The false start over to the right side. You had great talent, obviously, but you had to be precise. You had to be clean. What are the keys? Why is Air Force so good at what they do?
Well, they do a misdirection. They're using the triple option principle in their 3-back offense, but they use so much misdirection, opposite direction. It's really confusing the defense. You can see Oklahoma has not seen anything like this, and there's confusion and communication on defense, and they have some success. Oklahoma can run fast on defense. They got great quickness and speed. They'll close, but they can't practice this stuff against the scout teams, I promise you. It's a different deal.
Yeah, we watched it yesterday, and to be able to simulate it
Yeah.
by a scout team, it's impossible.
No, you don't. And it's great offense. It's not dead, and the academies keep it alive.
Yeah,
I promise
absolutely.
You. Maybe
Well,
some of the coaches are dead that they coached it. There's no disciples of it. Everybody wants to hire people from throwing game, the bogus, throw the ball, and spread offenses.
How about the offensive line play? This resembles what you guys did
there's no
back in
question
the
about
mid,
it.
low, eye in the thigh type of deal.
Veer blocking, down blocking, creating, sealing the inside and taking the ball to the corner and executing. But they're multiple offense. They're in the spread offense now. One back set. The back stays in, picks up the blitz. Guy's got a strong arm. Hit the first great slant route he threw today. Perfect throw. Great.
Hey, Mrs. Halderman there. We're talking to head coach Barry Switzer, and I'll keep calling him a head coach because he had such great championship teams here at Oklahoma. And for all of us that were in the Big 8 at the time, all of us a love from other schools. We suffered at the hands of the Oklahoma Sooners. Yeah. And now, look at this. Air Force, will they gamble?
Could be a pooch kick.
And a timeout is going to be called.
Timeout. Oklahoma, they're second of the half. Media timeout.
Well, we're going to take a timeout as well. So we'll come right back with Coach Barry Switzer, talk about, and especially the differences between college football as opposed to when he called it quits in '88 here at Oklahoma. Be back with Darren Horton in our Saturday studio.
On the Geico Halftime Show, let's get you back to Norman, Oklahoma, to Joel, and Barry Switzer.
All right, Darren, it is an honor to have Sooner legend with us. Coach Barry Switzer continues to join us. And you were just talking about Bud Wilkinson was here and the great run that Bud Wilkinson had here at Oklahoma. And we were talking while we were away about what Tom Osborne was doing with Tommy Fraser back in the 90s at Nebraska.
Great offense. You take the Tom Osborne's offense of the 90s when he went 60-3. Billy Vessel's here. This is this bunch Bud had. They had a great run, great bats. Won 47 in a row, running a triple option type offense. Not the blocking schemes, but basically the dive back, quarterback, keeper, pitch. And same principles, but except it evolved to the wishbone, and which is a great blocking scheme.
It is going to be a punt coming up for the Air Force Academy after they deliberated. Sooners will stay away from it, and they'll get it on a good roll for Air Force, as the Sooners will get it back at their own 16. We were talking while we were away as well about the differences in college football today. The spread offenses in college football. Everybody wants it in 2 minutes or less. You guys were willing to take your time because you could beat them on the perimeter with the right quarterback.
You bet. And we make people play disciplined defense. You can't run the I formation. You don't run the option game, and everybody gangs up at the point of attack. Quarterback, safety, linebackers, everybody comes where the I back is. But when you run the triple option, you don't gang up when you stick the ball in the fullback's belly. You better play who's got the quarterback, who's got the pitch, and play disciplined football.
They're out of the gun here, Coach. Landry Jones with a single to the backfield. Oklahoma back at their own 16.
This guy's a good quarterback.
He's got a gun, doesn't he?
He has quick delivery, got great ball velocity.
That's Kenny Stills, the freshman out of Southern California, on the receiving end.
I like his feet, Coach. You know, when you're talking
athlete.
about great quarterbacks, and I think Josh Heupel deserves more credit for getting these quarterbacks at OU ready, especially with their feet.
Well, a little swing works, and Broyles takes a hit, but he gets the first down. Timing important on that play.
You bet. See, this guy's got quick release, quick delivery. It's a prototype, and he has got great feet. You know, he's what, 6'6", smart. He is a really good player. He's going to be a first-round pick.
Man, he's got Kenny wide open. Cameron Kenny, coming off his best game as a Sooner, takes it inside the 45 to the 42. So back-to-back first downs. And as we look at this, Joel, this is a long time coming. First down since the first 5 minutes of the game for the Sooners.
This is what you do. The two defenders, a mistake and a missed assignment for Air Force. They run up, try to cover the flat, and you kill them in the seam deep. But here's the tempo of OU back on the ball.
And there's Broyles uncovered again, making a miss on the perimeter and diving. Staying in bounds with the first down inside the 30. So there's Ryan Broyles, and he has a chance to be one of the great receivers in Sooner history.
He's another first-round pick. This is a playmaker. This is the biggest playmaker they got. Get the ball in his hand, and he will make things happen. He's better. He's, I think, a little bit better than Clayton, Mark Clayton, who's a great player here, first-round pick, but it's very similar. But special player.
He's now 5th all-time on the Sooners receiving list, and a timeout has been called. Barry, we can't thank you enough for coming across the stadium and joining us up here in the press box.
I appreciate it, guys. Good luck to you.
Thank
See
you
guys. Stay after it.
Great talk with you.
Great to talk to you guys.
Barry Switzer, Oklahoma's legend. As we'll be right back to Norman. Big 12 College Football Saturday presented by Phillips Television. So amazing you won't be able to take your eyes off of it. And brought to you in part by Pizza. Get all your favorite pizzas for a great price every day only at your Pizza Hut. Joel Myers, Joel Klatt, Jim Knox back in Norman, Oklahoma. And what a college football Saturday. And thanks once again to Barry Switzer. Barry unplugged during commercials. And was he on fire?
He was great. Absolutely great.
The Sooners have it all the way down to their 27 after starting back at their own 16. Some explosive plays now. As they get to Margot Murray in the backfield, and off to the races he goes. Murray with another first down. So all of a sudden, adjustments for Oklahoma and some big chunks of yardage.
True freshman fullback Trey Millard. He gets in there. He's number 33, big guy, about 246 pounds. He's who makes he makes the block for Murray there, springs him back to that right side.
Boy, do they like the young man you're talking about. Effusive in their praise of Millard. And weaving his way. Murray with a flag down off the near side for the linesman. He's down at about the 9, inside the 9, close to the 8. Now, what about the flag?
Illegal shift. Offense. All players were not set. 5-yard penalty. We play first down.
Give you an idea of how different it has been for Oklahoma.
They might have called that on Millard there, that fullback. Joel.
Yeah, he was set up first, like on the hip of the tight end.
Yeah.
and then a late shift. Air Force has 108 yards rushing compared to 39 for Oklahoma. So Air Force has moved the ball despite the fact being down by 4. It's a shift you were talking about. Miller stays in the backfield. He's the only one. Landry Jones waits for Broyles. Broyles sandwiched at the 15. He's looking one way, and that's one of the things with a sophomore quarterback. Is he going to be looking off his receivers?
Well, I think with a year of experience, I think he's got that ability to make sure that he's influencing the safety down the field, influencing the linebacker, opening up holes for his wide receivers.
Jones again waiting. Broyles is just wide. So Broyles working against Adeji Paul, the junior out of Jenks High School in Tulsa. They've got a couple of young men coming back home from the Tulsa area, back into the Sooners state. As it falls incomplete. 1st and 10 line is brought to you by Phillips Televisions. It's now going to be 3rd and long for the Sooners. Jones calling the play at the line. But Broyles, don't forget about Broyles up top in the slot next to the freshman Kenny Stills. Plays from the sideline. That's why Kenny's looking back to well on the near side. Plenty of time. Kenny in a jump ball and way overthrown. Working against Reggie Rembert. So a field goal try coming up. Jimmy Stevens is in today for the injured Patrick O'Hara. O'Hara, the sophomore from Topeka, a walk-on who was a soccer player competitively, had never played football. Stevens, though, was a starter, don't forget, in 2008.
Well, and the reason he's going to be on is because Landry Jones all of a sudden fell out of rhythm. A couple of plays right here in a row, throwing the football in a position and too early for his wide receivers to catch it. So Landry Jones has got to settle down your heartbeat so you can get your feet going and throw accurately.
It'll be a 32-yard attempt from Stevens, trying to make it a 7-point lead for the Sooners, and the chip shot is good. So it's now 10-7, or 10-3 rather, Oklahoma. There's still 8:06 left in the half. Air Force has used 2 of their timeouts already here in the first half. And our ZMAX top 25 rankings, as you see, Texas, Oklahoma, along with Nebraska, 3 out of the top 10 from the Big 12. And Nebraska on the road. Severe test today against Jake Locker. We heard from Darren Horton in our College Football Saturday studio. 14-7 early in Nebraska in the first quarter. Along Lake Washington. And the second 10, Penn State, Kent State. So it should be a 2-1 record for the Nittany Lions at the end of the day. And Missouri, after their 50-6 win over McNeese State last week, inching into the top 25.
How about Michigan? You know, Robinson making a strong case to be Player of the Year, Heisman type of player early in this season. Imagine how good he would be if he tied his shoes, right?
So it's 7-point lead as Tress Way will kick it off. Cody Getz going back with the wide receiver, Warzika. There's plenty of speed for the Air Force Academy, especially Warzika. An interesting formation on kicks for the Sooners. It'll be Hodges from the goal line. And weaving his way across the 20. Good coverage outside. He goes to the 24 as we head back downstairs to Jim Knox.
All
Jim.
right, Joe, great story here. This is Tim Vida. He went to Air Force and the honorary captain for Air Force, played at Air Force as well, but also grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, and played under Ron Stoops Sr. and the late Ron Stoops. What was it like playing under him?
Well, he was one of the classiest guys I've ever been around. He's one of those coaches or teachers that makes an impact the rest of your life.
Now you can understand where Coach Bob Stoops got his coaching philosophy, I guess.
Not only his coaching philosophy, but his whole way to approach life and family, and it comes from Mrs. Stoops as well, and the entire Stoops family. This is no mistake that Bob has had the success that he's had based on his upbringing.
Now before the game, you also spent some time with Bob Stoops in his office, but you have had a great afternoon because you're honorary captain during the coin toss.
I'm extremely honored to be the honorary captain and also to be a friend of Bob's and spend some time with him, and it's just a great atmosphere to be in here.
Tim, appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of the day. Joel?
Very nice story. Thank you, Nancy. So a connection with that former Falcon Now Jefferson needs 10, and he's got it on 2nd and 10. It's a first down going to Count. Again, Zach Count, tall wide receiver, and basically their 5th wide receiver getting all the action.
And a couple of good 3rd down conversions. I like the timing of the play. Cal stepping on the toes of the defender, comes back, gives the frame, first down.
It'll be the fullback 2. They've now shut down 2 on his last 3 tries. Travis Lewis back on the field. It'll be maybe a half yard at the most for Jared 2. But still, Air Force hanging in there. Time of possession, and that's the key for them, keeping the ball out of the hands of the Sooners. And they've got it a little bit more by 2 minutes.
And the score within 1 possession, which they have been able to keep it that at 10-3.
Where Zeke, a quick toss, gets out on the edge, but the Sooners' team speed defensively denies him. Hold him to a gain of 1.5 yards. Well, even when you look at the losses last year for the Air Force Academy, it seemed like they were all by 7 or less. They hang in there against everybody.
Well, that's the nature of this football team. Not only the kids that play for it and just the mentality that they have as cadets, but also the nature of their philosophy, their schematics as a football team. They just continue to stay close. OU hasn't had the opportunities, Joel, to go down and score a lot of points.
I like what Coach Switzer said. You know, I think their GPAs could match up with the Sooners. 10-3 ball game, looking one way, going the other, and it's going to be short of the first down marker on 3rd and 8. As they went to Demmer, the tight end, the senior from Wichita, for the first time.
They're going to come right back up to the offense. If line right here, Jefferson back at quarterback, they're going to snap this football.
It'll be 4th down at about 3. A gamble from the 4. Now they'll pooch it. Jefferson, and it pays off. Good roll. It'll hit the wide receiver Halderman, so it'll be down at about the 17, 18-yard line. So a little pooch from Jefferson. And that's the way to take the return game out completely for Oklahoma.
Especially with a team that has some of that firepower, you know, in their return game with Broyles back there and guys like Murray. You just take it completely out of their hands. 2
good games for you next week on College Football Saturday. Our Twin Bill starts. Joel will be there at the Little Apple in Manhattan. UCF taking on Daniel Thomas, the Kansas State Wildcats, and then a Pac-10 showdown. It'll be Oregon's explosive offense featuring LaMichael James taking on the dominating D of Arizona State. It all starts 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 out of the West Coast. Oklahoma settling for the 32-yard field goal the last time they had it. Will now get it back at their own 17. Jones sends Madu in motion. A little swing pass and dropped by Moses Madu. And it was close to being behind the receiver, but it was a forward pass.
They had the blocking out there. They had the formation that they wanted. They send Madu in motion. They're overloading that right side. They had the wide receivers able to cut down the corner and the outside linebacker who was walked out, but Madu unable to hold on to the football.
So Madu seeing significant playing time after most of it went to DeMarco Murray. Murray had close to 250 yards rushing over the first 2 games. And it looked like it was going to be that kind of day for Murray on the first possession for Oklahoma, when they clearly just marched easily 60 yards, and most of it with Murray on the ground. They'll reset it. Good microphones. Oklahoma sideline. What is going on?
Bob wants to know. Bob wants to know.
Jones spreads him out. 3 on the wide side. And now he will throw it over the head of Madu. Indecision, though, by Landry Jones once again.
He is not in a good rhythm right now. You see him shaking his head. He doesn't have a good flow into this football game. That's a ball that he just needs to tuck under his arm and get as much as he can get. Give yourself a 3rd and 5 rather than this 3rd and 10 by just chucking it out of bounds.
Pretty stiff breeze at the back of Landry Jones. He'll be throwing on 3rd and 10. And flag on a false start against the Sooners. So as a group, out of sync.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Called it on Jarvis Jones, the starting left tackle today. They have made adjustments on the offensive line. Stevenson started last week. Jones today. Icard today after Good started last week. And LePac got to call it right guard after Evans had started last week. Interchangeable parts, though, as they play a number on the offensive line. 3rd and 15. Time for Jones, but man, was that too tall. He was looking for Dewan Miller for the first time today. His junior wideout from a touch in New Jersey. It's just not working.
The frustration you can see on the face of Landry Jones. He did not step into that throw. He just tried to throw that with all arm. At that point, you never follow through. And if I'm Josh Heupel, I'm going to go over to Landry Jones and not talk about the X's and O's of this football game, but I need to tell him, hey, you've got to slow down and be a leader right now for this football team and go out there and execute.
Anthony Wright Jr. for the first time is going to be back. He's a home run threat for the Air Force Academy. Way's last punt, a 52-yarder. And this off the side of his foot, a wobbler. It'll hit, take an Oklahoma bounce. A break that time for the Sooners across the midfield stripe close to the 40, but still good field position for the Air Force Academy. And do you believe, who would have suspected after that first drive that 3 of the first 5 possessions for Oklahoma would be 3 and out with a punt?
Well, Landry Jones is feeling that frustration right now because this is a guy in an offense and a crowd that expects to score. Led all freshmen last year with those 3,100 yards and 26 touchdowns, freshman of the year in the Big 12 Conference. This is a guy that wants to have success. This is an offense that has enjoyed enormous success over the last 3 or 4 seasons, and they want to score, and they want to score right now. Just what we were talking about with Barry Switzer here just a few minutes ago. But now Air Force is in a perfect situation for their offense.
Warzika, the target, and Asher Clark with a block, but what recovery on the outside for the Sooners. Outstanding play, Jonathan Nelson, the strong safety. It looked like he was going to go for yardage.
Watching film of this team last week against BYU, this play would have gone for about 10 or 12 yards, but this is the recovery speed. At that point right there, Warzika has the edge, but Nelson comes out of nowhere from the inside, filling inside out. Jonathan Nelson and his speed is what stopped that play for Air Force.
Brett Venables told us the quickest in the secondary. Jonathan Nelson, honorable mention all Big 12 last year. It's only a yard. Looked like it was 5 or 6 easy. 2nd and 9 to the fullback. And lunges out the 45. How tough was it for you to prepare for a Brett Venables defense?
It was very difficult because, one, you know that physically they're going to be very quick. They're going to be strong at the point of attack as far as the defensive line. And then I know this guy, Brent Venables, he's going to have something up his sleeve for that week to try to attack something that we do, especially on 3rd down. So they're smart, they're physical, and they're fast, and that's very tough to face.
He's a Salina, Kansas kind of guy out of Salina South High School. So one of our favorite places in the state of Kansas. Going to be 3rd and 5. Running the option, Jefferson nudges close, but he is short of the first down at the 49.
I wouldn't be shocked at all if they went for this. This is right in their sweet spot. It's 3rd and 1. Their offense is built for this. Jefferson knows that, and that's why he just reads the defense and he's just playing football. He's not thinking about the chains. He sees the alleys, cuts it up, tucks it under his arm, and now they're just playing football, even though it's 4th and 1.
It's 4th and less than a yard. Would it be to the fullback? 2 gets it, and he's got the first down. 1st and 10 Air Force on the gamble just across the midfield stripe. And real quickly, well, we'll get back to it after this.
Well, and you see the offensive line surge down low, terrific drive, the center. Michael Hester getting off the ball. Tyler Schoncheck doing a great job as well. And 2, just following his big offensive line.
We talked about it, the quickness of their offensive line. They don't need to engage long now, looking and overshooting Asher Clark. And he also had Warzika wide open on an out pattern.
That last set of downs, Joel, was the prime example why Brent Venables said to us, we must keep them off schedule like they have done now at 2nd and long, or else we are, quote, dead. And that's what he said, because this offense, even in 4th and 1, it's so tough to stop them because they're still going to put the football out there and let 2 roll over it. They've got the option to defend and all of those things.
It'll be 2nd and 10 for the 49. And Jefferson, nice deception, but underthrows his target, Mikael Hunter. No, our best of the family of Don Smith, who passed away, a friend of College Football Saturday, and our best of Don Smith. His sons are on our local crew here. 2 of his sons, former PR director of the New York Giants. Gentleman made his home at Oklahoma City. So our thoughts are with the family of Don Smith this entire week. Now it's going to be 3rd and 10 from the 49. put on the ground and off the fingertips of Asher Clark. So out of rhythm completely once it was dropped by Jefferson. Carter in the coverage, and a good thing Asher Clark went down.
Yeah, because Carter was right there, and this guy is a physical specimen. This is exactly what Air Force doesn't want to happen. They get off schedule, but they're going to pooch this ball again and not allow DeMarco Murray or Ryan Broyles to get back there and receive a punt. Great strategy. Going to be pinned inside the 10-yard line.
Boys, Jefferson got it down. A little end-over-ender.
A great rugby player, isn't he?
I wish I could bump and run my wedge around, or my 9-iron or 8-iron around the green like that. Right. So Jefferson gets it done. Back inside the 10. Oklahoma's going to have it at the 7. So Air Force keeping them kind of at bay right now.
Well, and not only do you not allow Broyles or Murray to go down there and receive a punt, but you're going to put a frustrated offense. You've had some false starts. Landry Jones has overthrown his last 3 wide receivers, and you're putting them inside the 10-yard line, which is a stressful environment. Great strategy by Troy Calhoun and the Falcons.
Deep single set for DeMarco Murray. Man, looked like an offside. No flag, though. Murray barely tripped up. Boy, over the nose on the center. It looked like an early jump by Air Force. Still 5 for DeMarco Murray. It's a quick group. We've talked about it. Give him 6 on that first down carry.
These cadets will not go anywhere.
And keeping them at bay. Despite the fact they're down by 7, they've outgained them and meeting them on the edge. It was the safety, John Davis, the junior from Cincinnati, with a pretty good lick.
I believe that Oklahoma at some points, actually, they go too fast for their own good because the execution starts to slow down and wear off, rather than sometimes taking your time and allowing those big offensive linemen to get their hats where they need to be, especially on the outside.
They'll run the fullback. Millard in motion. Need 2 for Murray. And Murray struggles. He may be short of the first down marker, just outside of the 16. Needed to go across the 17. It may be another 3 and out. One thing that we have found, the guys are fearless on the Air Force Academy.
No question about it. They don't. You bring anybody else into this environment, and you might get some wide eyes. You might get some guys that are in awe of the University of Oklahoma and their football program. But these cadets, they got bigger and more important things in the future.
Right,
that's
the big picture.
Perspective, and that's what these kids have, and they play like it. And that's what's so impressive. It's easy to get behind and to start to like and root for the Air Force Falcons, not only because of what they're going to do after football, but they play such a great brand of football as well.
Oklahoma's got it by an inch.
Joel, what you're seeing right now is the product of a quarterback that the coaches don't want to put back there and throw the football. Everybody for Air Force in the box. Only 1 safety deep. 8 men at the line of scrimmage. Very tough to block all those 8 guys. And that's why you're seeing DeMarco Murray struggle for yardage at the point of attack.
And Troy Calhoun, who we just saw on the sideline, they swing it out real quickly to Broyles. Makes him miss. Good move down the sideline and then takes a hit as he's popped out of bounds by Miller.
Impressed with the youngster on the outside, number 4, Kenny Stills, true freshman from California, gets the cornerback. I believe that's Reggie Rimbert on the outside. There's Stills. No, I'm sorry, that's Anthony Wright Jr. See that block? Just slowing up the pursuit of Wright Jr. is enough for Madu to get outside.
It'll be 2nd and 9. Landry Jones, or 2nd and 1. Landry Jones finding DeMarco Murray. Murray, pushed out by Davis, has the first down. Well, Troy Calhoun, who we saw on the sideline, the head coach, when he was stationed here at an Air Force base outside of Oklahoma City, he called the Sooner office. It was 90, 91, and 92 when he volunteered his time, and he broke down footage for the staff, for Gary Gibbs' coaching staff. So he knows about the tradition, and he's familiar with bringing a team in here and how difficult it can be. Out of the hands of Kenny. He's trying to make his move on Rembert before he had the football.
Uncharacteristic of a guy who the coaches have been telling us has been playing his most consistent football. The junior college wide receiver, now a senior out of Georgia, 6'1", 193 pounds. He's been doing a nice job. Took his eye off that last one.
It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 31. Quick jump and an offside. 3 down for Broyles, and pretty nice pivot. Pretty good moves. He's got a first down. They'll decline the penalty. It was a jump on the near side, offside Air Force. And a first down to the 45 of the Sooners.
Offside. Defense, number 49. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Right defensive end for Air Force. He's going to jump off sides on the hard count from Landry Jones. I don't mind that at all when you're in your own territory. You try to get some free yardage, especially when you're behind the chains in 2nd and 10.
That was Caleb Koneman, former outside linebacker. Ton of time for Landry Jones. And it's Rattery, the tight end, taking it in for his short gain. So now we have a minute to play. It's out of bounds, which saves the timeout. Oklahoma still with timeouts on the board. And they're up by 7, so plenty of time.
Plenty of time, especially for an up-tempo offense like OU.
Jones for grabs and almost brought down by Stills. He threw it only into triple coverage.
I'll tell you, Landry is off right now.
Yeah, that's a break.
Mentally, he's got to be frustrated. His feet are never set. Stills is just gobbled up by all the defenders. And 31 for Air Force. That's Brian Lindsay, the strong safety. He had his hands on the football. John Davis had his shots at it. Rimbert has his shots at it. Stills was able to play a little bit of defense there and get the ball on the ground.
It's 3rd and 4. It should have been a pick for Lindsay. Only need for Broyles. Making a miss. Uses the sideline to save a timeout again. Boy, that experience.
Smart player. He's only a junior. Came in with 21 receptions, and he shows you that he's not only flashy and he's not only a guy that can get the ball in the end zone, but he's a smart football player. I love this as a quarterback. Throw it to him in the middle, and what does he do? He looks for the chains and then the sidelines right away.
And it's going to stop anyway, but it's going to restart after the movement of the chains. One timeout left for Oklahoma, still up by 7. This drive started back of their own 7. Here comes the blitz, and it'll be out of the reach of Stills. That didn't have a chance. So it'll be 2nd and 10. Still 39 seconds left, and we remind you, and we just saw a good look. Jimmy Stevens hit that 32-yard field goal, but it is the backup place kicker for the Sooners today. O'Hara injured in pregame warmups, and Jimmy Stevens has taken over.
They are working with the wind here, so they don't necessarily have to get as deep as they would going the other direction.
A pretty good stiff breeze at the back of the Sooners. Bad snap by Hayburn. Now Landry Jones trying to throw it away. He does. And he's still in the pocket in the tackle box. Yeah, it should be a flag.
Not only was he in the tackle box, but he was in the arms of a defender. The ball did not get past the line of scrimmage, the original line, and there's the flag.
Intentional grounding. Offense, number 12. Lost it down at the spot of the foul. 3rd down.
That's Hayburn who's snapping the football back. And that's rare. He's that good.
It was a ground ball. Jones didn't even have a chance, but at that time, you just cover up the football and take the sack rather than also taking that loss of down that they've got. So now it's 3rd and long. If I'm Air Force, they're in prevent. I don't necessarily like this. I'd dial up a pressure and force them to throw hot, rally up, and make the tackle.
3-man rush. And Jones moving the pocket. And out of the reach of Kennedy. It would have been out of bounds had he caught it anyway, and a punt coming up.
And again, high. Jones off the mark once again, not getting his shoulders set.
But a lot of passes have sailed on him.
He's not balanced. He's not in rhythm. He doesn't feel comfortable. He's frustrated, and that's what happens as a quarterback. Landry's got to calm himself down at halftime and come out here and try to play a more efficient half of football. And that's going to be Josh Heupel's job, standing next to him, trying to coach him up, the quarterback coach for OU.
This is going to be, believe it or not, the 4th punt of the first half for Tress Way out of 6 Oklahoma possessions. So give credit to the Falcons of the Air Force Academy. They won't even put Davis back deep. It'll be over his head and into the end zone. So Air Force, one time out on the board. I think you got to believe they'll be content with 18 seconds left to go to the locker room down by 7.
If OU's quick strike, I don't know exactly what to call Air Force. Methodical, I guess, is the best word. But yeah, this is going to be at most a handoff to Jared Two, the fullback, probably just a knee by Tim Jefferson.
So yardage at this point almost identical. 171 total yards for Air Force to 170 for the 9th-ranked team in the nation, the Oklahoma Sooners. And Oklahoma has not been able to run the football. Only 31 yards on the ground, a knee, and that'll do it. So, like we've said, they hang in there with everybody and continue to give themselves a chance. And that's the kind of the theme of Air Force Academy under Troy Calhoun, a very successful program in their 4th year under a former Falcon.
Got to reset if you're Landry Jones. You're frustrated, I get it, but you've got to reset now going into the locker room. Get yourself some water, get yourself some Gatorade, and settle yourself down because you got to play better in the second half.
Downstairs we go. Jim Knox.
All right, thank you, Joel. Coach, a defensive game here. You got to be pleased with your defense holding the Air Force offense to just 3 points.
We have played really well on defense. Offensively, we've just been terribly inconsistent. You know, just poor execution.
How do you get a jump started in the second half, Coach?
Well, again, these guys just got to settle in, have some execution, not have some dumb penalties or miss snap here that gives you, that puts you back in the hole. It just gets down to executing properly.
Thanks for the time. Halftime in Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma leading Air Force 10-3. Right now, let's head to the Geico halftime show and join Darren Horton. Darren?
College football Saturday continues from Norman, Oklahoma, the number 9 team of the nation. Having some issues early. It's 10-3, Sooners on top of the Air Force Academy. Welcome back once again, Joel Myers along with Joel Klatt. Air Force Academy, as we found out before, they don't beat themselves. And right now, Oklahoma is making plenty of mistakes to help out.
Well, in the first half, when you look at what happened, Air Force got it started with a great first drive, a lot of good execution, especially on the outside. Jonathan Warzika got it started on the outside with a great block from Asher Clark. And then later in that same drive on 3rd down, a play that Air Force doesn't like too much, you got to throw the football. Kauth comes up with a big catch down the football field. They're able to get points on the board. And then the struggles for OU in the first half. That's really been the story for me. Landry Jones has got to settle down. Ben Hayburn, he snaps it on the ground. Landry Jones throws it away. That takes him out of field goal range. Oklahoma needs to get it together in this second half.
Our Geico players to watch in the second half were Warzika. 51 yards on 5 carries, but they shut him down. He had 51 over the first 2 and then shut him down on the last 3. Ryan Broyles, he could be the difference for Oklahoma to settle them down in the second half. Now, Landry Jones has to get him some touches and get him the balls, but Broyles is that good a playmaker for the Sooners, as we saw on those 6 grabs in the first half. Downstairs we go. Jim Knox.
Troy Calhoun, and the head coach at Air Force, told me that, hey, he likes where his team is right now. They just got to finish some drives in the second half, clean up a few things. Other than that, he says he likes his chances here in the second half. We'll see what happens.
Well, they're a confident group, Knoxie. I don't disagree. They don't make mistakes. They're a clean team. And by the way, those pooch punts we saw from Jefferson, he had never done that before.
Well, and then that's why it's such a great idea. No film of it. OU can't prepare.
Gatz, Warzika, and they'll stay right there on the kick from Tressway. So Air Force down by 7 is going to get it 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Now, they had opportunities in the first half, but they stalled. And you see the yardage they got, frequently stalling around the midfield stripe, so then Oklahoma started deep in their own territory.
But for me, it's 9 plays, 10 plays, 7, 6, 8. I mean, they never were just stopped, and that's why they've got such an advantage in terms of time of possession. They held the ball for a little over 17 minutes in that first half. That's exactly what they want to do. And they start this half with the football. So a great situation right now for Troy Calhoun's Falcons.
Every one of their possessions, they produced at least 1 first down. They never went 3 and out with a punt. Now they get it for the first time in the second half, their own 20. Trailing by 7. They show 3 in the backfield, and Jefferson's got a lane. He's collared, though, as coming across for the Oklahoma Sooners, making the play on the outside. Stacy McGee was up there. Fleming as well, but it was McGee first who got him around the shoulder pads. The sophomore who's in his first season as a starter, along with Casey Walker. Both tackles sophomores for the Sooners, so inexperience up there. They've got Beal on the outside, though, and Alexander, who's got starts of the last 2 seasons on the other side. It'll be 2nd and 7. 2. Boy, you think they push him back? Nope. He still falls forward for an extra yard. tough customer.
Tough customer meeting tough customer. Redshirt freshman from Texas, Tom Ward, the middle linebacker for OU. He sticks his nose right up in the A gap. That's what he's responsible for. He sheds the block of the center, gets lower than him, great leverage, and then stuffs two for only a couple of yards.
It'll be 3rd and 4. Jefferson keeps it, and he spins across the 35 to the 37. You have to be honest with two, because he's been so successful and he got a lot of attention.
And this is what makes it so difficult, is Jefferson on the outside, he actually fakes the pitch. Later on, as we continue to roll it down the line of scrimmage, right there, he looks out to the outside man, and that's what forces number 32, Jamel Fleming, to go out to the pitch man, opening up a lane for himself, Tim Jefferson. What a great job right there managing the option offense.
Jefferson will give it to Asher Clark, who slices his way across the 39 to the 40. Gets about 3.5 yards. So it's very clean. They don't turn the ball over. They don't put it on the ground. It's a very succinct style of football.
It's frustrating. OU knows they've got the better athletes, and yet they sit there and they can't get off the football field because of the execution from Troy Calhoun's Falcons.
Kind of matter of fact, the way they do their business. 2 into the secondary, another first down for the Air Force Academy. They came in leading the nation in rushing and leading by a lot.
And Travis Lewis, who's such a great will linebacker for OU, this is a prime example of what this option offense does to you. It forces you to hesitate, and then bang, all of a sudden Asher Clark is into your right hip, and you're not able to go up there and make a tackle for no loss.
There's a flag, no yardage, maybe a yard at the most for 2, as they stuff it for one of the few times.
When you're trying to read what's going on, and that split second of hesitation, that'll get you as a defense.
Will it be declined? He's presenting the options to Oklahoma's sideline.
Illegal formation, too many men in the backfield. Offense, 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Well, I was just talking about the efficiency over the first 2 games of the Air Force Academy. And it's not by a little that they lead the nation. Granted, it's only 2 games, but they ran for over 400 yards last week against BYU, and that's unheard of.
That is unheard of, and it's not like Georgia Tech is not running the ball well. They're averaging 331 yards. Air Force is just that much better. Already today, 149 yards on the ground for Air Force.
Against a very quick, powerful Oklahoma defense. Spinning his way, kicking out of the tackle is Asher Clark. Big yardage. He got 10, almost 11. DeMontre Hurst lassoed him. Young man from Lancaster, Texas. Otherwise, he's down the seam.
Ward right in the middle. Redshirt freshman sheds a block. Just not quite in position to get Asher Clark, who is a very strong runner.
It's 2nd and 4. They'll give it to Halderman. He breaks an arm tackle and has a first down inside the 40 to the 39. Just try to figure them out, because Halderman's coming one way. The motion of the entire other side, the offensive line of the other back, is coming the other way.
What I loved it on the previous play, it was the same type of movement, except Clark got the handoff. So that time they just bring it on the end around and catch OU napping a little bit.
First down. It's 2. Too few for Air Force. He gets a yard. Travis Lewis put him down. We really enjoyed talking to the Falcons coaching staff this week. Clay Hendricks, their offensive coordinator, he had some funny lines, and just overall talking about that they're not a real comfortable team to get accustomed to. You don't want to face them.
And he knows that.
Yep.
You know, and he knows that is to his advantage.
Said, I don't think the Air Force is a lot of fun to prepare for. That's exactly the way the Sooner staff felt about it. Now, wide side option. Jefferson's got a good lane. Down the sideline, has a block out in front. To the 10, to the 5, and he's in. Jefferson and the Falcons a point after from tying things up. It looked like Cody Getz with a beautiful block downfield.
Wearing you out, wearing you out. Air Force comes out with the option. Tony Jefferson too wide for his responsibility, and then Cody Getz hustling down the field. Bang. Jonathan Nelson goes to the ground, and it's an easy touchdown for Tim Jefferson. What a terrific play and execution from Air Force.
To tie it up, Soderberg puts it through, and we are all even on a very impressive 80-yard drive at the Air Force Academy to start the second half. So the speed of their quarterback Jefferson, the junior from Atlanta, and it's all even in Norman. 4 minutes into the second half. Big 12 College Football Saturday brought to you by Geico, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit geico.com. And by Philips Television, so amazing you won't be able to take your eyes off of it. Joel Myers, Joel Klatt, Jim Knox back in Norman, Oklahoma, and their 71st consecutive sellout. Absolutely stunned. I got a kick out of some of the things we heard from Clay Hendricks, our offensive coordinator. One line, he said, we run 40s against our opponents. We won't win many matchups. But they're out executing their opponents, right, and they're tied at 10 right now. So 9-play, 80-yard drive. Our freecreditscore.com scoring drive. Just about 4 minutes off the clock. It'll be Murray and Madu. And they've been very quiet since that opening drive, haven't they? The running backs for the Sooners. In fact, only 31 yards rushing for the Sooners. On the ground, big hop from Madu at the 20. And a nice lane over to the left side. What an adjustment, Madu across the midfield stripe. And fumbled it, but it was out of bounds. It's a great field position, but a look back on the score by Jefferson.
When you look at this block from Cody Getz, you got to keep in mind he's 5'7", 170 pounds. Great move by Tim Jefferson. And then here he goes. He's going to throw. That's what they call it. He's going to throw on the legs of Jonathan Nelson. What a beautiful job. And what you always hear about with Air Force is their offense gets people on the ground, and Cody Getz does a terrific job on the last play, popping it for Tim Jefferson.
It's the first time that Oklahoma has started with the ball across the midfield stripe. They're in Air Force territory at the 41. Now Landry Jones settled down. Broyles is there. Breaking tackles on his way inside the 5. It'll be first and goal to the 5.
That'll settle you down if you're a quarterback. If you're not in rhythm, go to your best receiver, and that's what he does. Landry Jones does throw in rhythm on his feet on this play. An accurate pass to Ryan Broyles, and then he shows you the strength in the back end, but here come the Sooners.
DeMarco Murray spins, he's in. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Boy, that took a long time, didn't it?
What they couldn't do in the first half was answer Air Force. Air Force puts together their most impressive drive of the game, gets into the end zone for the first time, and it takes OU all of 2 plays to come back and put a score on the board.
About 31 seconds. That's all. Jimmy Stevens in for the point after. And as he pushes it, it still is inside the upright. 17-10 Sooners. Murray with his second touchdown of the game. And the Sooners back on top of Air Force. We continue in sunny, warm Norman, Oklahoma. And the 9th-ranked Sooners regain the advantage 17-10. By the way, I said 31 seconds. It was a 22-second drive.
Forgot about the kickoff.
Right, 22 seconds, 2 plays, 41 yards. I don't know if they're going to squib any more kicks to Oklahoma.
Well, and Ryan Broyles is the one who set up the touchdown for DeMarco Murray, and Broyles again. Yeah, Madu with the long kickoff run. Right, so we got all 3 of them. Nice shots, boys.
Zika and Getz waiting for the kick from Tress Way. He does have the wind at his back. Pretty good breeze. So 14 points between the two over the first 4.5 minutes of the third. We had 13 the entire first 30 minutes of play. Zika angling over to the right, and it doesn't work. They'll have it at the 22 when we come back for first a game break with Darren Horton. Darren.
Joel, you've got a good one, and in Knoxville, Tennessee just went 71 yards in 3 plays. Matt Sims, 49 yards to Denarius Moore, and the Vols are tied at 10 with number 7 Florida.
Good game going into the second half. Been to Neyland, one of the great venues as well in Knoxville. Daniel Noble is in at tackle underneath for the Sooners. Young man they like a lot, of freshman from Flower Mound, Texas. He's got number 93 on his back. Jefferson, and it was Noble who stayed at home and got him around the ankles. Puts him down across the 23 near the 24. We had mentioned just a few minutes ago that Air Force has not gone a possession today without picking up at least one first down.
And this is a good defense, folks. I know that they're replacing 7 starters from a year ago, but a very good and aggressive defense that they're doing this on.
Two has been shut down at least early here in the second half. They stayed at home with the fullback. He got about 2.5, but he was getting good chunks, 5 to 7, 8 yards in the first half.
I really like what number 93 Noble has been doing for Oklahoma. In there, he's a young guy. They like him a lot, but he's staying on his feet. And so many times you see guys on the ground. As soon as you see guys on the ground in the middle of the defense when Air Force is playing them, expect a big play. Noble's doing a terrific job staying upright.
It's a young Sooner squad. They've already used 12 true freshmen. 3 have started. Haldeman, a little toss on the reverse, and they can't get him outside Hunter again. Mikael Hunter broke one like that for a touchdown. Jeremy Beal, DeMontre Hurst combining for the stop.
Jeremy Beal, left defensive end for OU, the All-Big 12 player a year ago. Here he is, staying home, doing his job. That's all the defensive coordinator ever wants you to do, is do your job. Wider than the widest. Then he sees the ball carrier. He comes back, forces him inside, and makes the tackle. Tremendous play from Jeremy Beal.
So for the first time today, it's 3 and out with a punt for the Air Force Academy. It'll be Ryan Broyles. He had a big one against Oklahoma State. You remember last year, an 87-yarder for a touchdown. End over ender. He won't go off the fair catch, and he spins away for the pursuit. Broyles across the 45 and another short field. First Padu on the kick return, and now a nifty punt return by Broyles. Puts it all the way at the 45 of the Sooners. Sooners get it back in great field position. Now will they capitalize like they did last time, Joel?
Well, they got it in great field position because of that squib kick that Air Force hit along the ground. Moses Madu fields it, gets up the sidelines, and they start with great field position. The struggling quarterback in the first half, Landry Jones, you got to go to your sure-handed senior or junior wide receiver, Ryan Broyles. And then Murray with a good tough run right behind Stevenson in there at left guard. He gets it into the end zone, and OU feels a little bit better about themselves now in the second half, especially after this last 3 and out from Air Force. Their first 3 and out of the game, and now OU again with a short field, and I'm sure they're going to play with the up-tempo style that we've seen all day long.
Let's see if they try to get Murray involved again like they did in the first drive of the game. Miller, fullback, slides into position for DeMarco Murray. Nice land over to the right side. Murray gets a quick 6. Across the 50, down to the 49. So we talked about the overall strength up front.
Yeah.
And the size mismatch if they do want to pound the football.
Well, this is the time of the game where that will, come to pass. That size and weight that's been leaning on you all day long.
It'll be 2nd and 4. Murray again. They push him back. I mean, he had 4 before he could even get close to the line of scrimmage. They had pushed him that far back. It moves it down to the 42.
But what I love about DeMarco Murray is his ability to have one cut out of the pistol. He gets it, he presses the line of scrimmage to the right, and then he cuts directly back up the field. Not back left, Joel, but right north and south, directly up the field. That's why he's able to get those yards.
Murray is just the 2nd in Sooner history to pass 1,000 yards in rushing, receiving, and returns. Buster Rhymes back in the early 80s, the only other one to do it. Now Landry Jones looking around for the availability. And boy, has he settled down? He goes out of bounds inside the 25. It's a totally different player.
Great decision and shows some athleticism down the rail. In the first half, he would have tucked that and then brought it back up to throw it and thrown it back into the sidelines, maybe up into the stands. But here, he looks for his 2nd read, gets to his 3rd read. Now he's going to tuck it, and he decides, you know what, I've got a chance to get out of bounds. Now I can get the rail and get the first down.
It's a first down. He moves the pocket by design. It's Kenny dropping the ball again. Kind of fighting it on that one, didn't he?
Kenny out of Garden City Junior College a couple of years ago, and very surprising. Bob Stoops trying to get him some confidence on the sideline. He's been playing consistent football on the outside. Good blocking, always where he's supposed to be, and catching the football, but we haven't seen that today.
Now, last week, 4 catches, 73 yards. Kind of a breakthrough game against Florida State. The opposite with his second drop. Now it'll be 2nd and 10. Here comes the heat on Jones. Got it away in time. And the heat was coming. The pressure from Anthony Wright Jr. Corner blitz.
This is a product of a freshman being on the outside. That's Stills on the outside to the right, the wide receiver, number 4 for Oklahoma. He's a true freshman. He's got to call out a cat call, which is a corner blitz.
They go in a true hurry up this time. Over the middle, batted away at the last second. Lindsey. It was right there for Ryan Broyles. Boy, Brian Lindsey saved a touchdown.
He's a guy coming in for Chris Thomas, who was a great strong safety for Air Force a couple of years ago. What a terrific play. Outstretched hand running down the field with Ryan Broyles. That's tough to do. And this ball was accurately thrown. That's going to be a touchdown if Lindsey doesn't get his hand on that football. A great shot right there. Lindsey selling out to block that pass.
It'll be a 41-yard try now for Jimmy Stevens. He's already got a 32-yarder. Clean exchange on its way, and it's good. So Jimmy Stevens doing a phenomenal job filling in for the injured Patrick O'Hara. That's the 21st field goal of his career. Don't forget, he was in there for him in 08. Not a factor last year, and in an emergency situation comes through.
After that scramble, they were on schedule. That's a little bit frustrating. Bob Stoops talked about they need to execute better. Well, Kenny Stills has got to execute better. He didn't call out that corner blitz, Joel. That's why they had to settle for a field goal.
Well, and that corner blitz was by Anthony Wright Jr. And as we look back on the bowl game for Air Force last year, Wright was in the middle of things at Amon Carter Stadium in Fort Worth. The home of TCU was Armed Forces Bowl. 3 interceptions, tying a school record. And Air Force on their way to a decisive victory over Houston because of the big plays of Anthony Wright Jr., winning by 27 points.
If you remember, that was a top 25 Houston team that just beat a top 25 BYU team, and Anthony Wright Jr. is a large reason why they're in this football game. Very good corner. Lott Trophy, Nagurski Award watch list, all the second team All Mountain West Conference a year ago, along with Reggie Rimbert on the other side, who was a first team All Mountain West player. They've got 2 corners out there that could play in any program in the Mountain West, and that includes TCU and Utah.
Way with a good one. Warzika backpedaling with no momentum. Wise decision to stay back there, as Air Force will have it at their own 20. We head to Southern California. Darren Horton with a game break. Darren. That's 49 with still 8+ to play in the third. Well, Husky Stadium's going to clear out in a hurry.
And Nebraska, Bo Pelini said he's got a good defense coming into this year, and they're proving him to be correct.
Air Force has it. The 3rd time in the second half. It's 2. The fullback slides up the middle for over 5, almost 6 yards. Tripped up by Frank Alexander, the end on the far side. So all of a sudden, now playing catch-up, which is tough for a team like Air Force. It's 10. It's just not one score anymore. How about the kid who just came into the game that we were talking about earlier? Big number 93, Daniel Noble. He's on his back in a hurry. And now it's going to be 3rd and short, as we remind you. The 1st and 10 line is brought to you by Phillips Television. How critical is this 3rd down for Air Force with the momentum belonging to Oklahoma?
Have to execute on this 3rd down. These chains have got to move with the way OU's offense is playing right now.
4th 11 on their 3rd down tries. Halderman goes in motion, gets the kick out block. He's got the 1st down. He took a shot from Jonathan Nelson, the safety, but went low, accepted the blow, and moves the chains.
Tough kids playing for Air Force. Kyle Halderman does not shy away from the 188-pound junior Jonathan Nelson. Let's listen in. Pads crunching there, and he knew how important that 1st down was, and that's why he lowered that shoulder.
Interesting formation. They send Asher Clark in motion. Available is Warznika on his way. Nothing on his back. Nelson pulls him down at the 35. Big play, and what a lead by Jefferson, the quarterback.
Great throw by Jefferson. Very good route by Warzika, hiding himself in the middle of that coverage and then popping open late. Warzika holding on to the football, very smart. Knows he's going to get caught, doesn't have the speed to break away. So he covers up the football. He makes sure that they have the ability to snap it on 1st down now from the 35-yard line.
Well, they had only 25
Injury
tosses,
timeout.
and it is an injury timeout. 25 throws by Jefferson over the first 2 games. 25. It's 11 so far for Jefferson today in a catch-up mode.
Well, and he's thrown it pretty well. And as you take a look around the Big 12, see what Kansas did last night. That was a Friday, and then earlier Iowa State and Kansas State. That was a terrific game.
What's going on in Boulder?
Well, Colorado's trying to come back. They got the lead now. Nebraska, we've already seen that big lead. TCU, they've got a very good football team. I know people have high expectations for Baylor, but now you see the night schedule as Oklahoma State, A&M, and Texas Tech are going to lock horns there in Lubbock. Should be a great night of Big 12 football coming up.
Javon Harris is coming in for Jonathan Nelson, the strong safety, after that completion to Warnica. Now Jefferson looking to throw again. Wanted to go to Holden, and now he'll run instead. Loses the football. And will it be the safety who just came into the game who picked it up? The Sooners say they have it. They had an edge on the football. And in the wrestling match, they'll give it to Oklahoma. So Jefferson loses it. Was it Beal from behind?
I think it was number 44, the senior, 267 pounds, not giving up on the play. Javon Harris may have come back and recovered that ball. Yeah, it was Beal from a terrific job. That's not giving up on the play. And then there's Javon Harris, who initially told you see that he lost it, but he wrestled it back at the bottom of that pile. That's all want to from OU, and the backup safety, Javon Harris, sophomore from Lawton, Oklahoma.
So that's the first turnover of the contest, and Harris came into the game on that snap for Jonathan Nelson. Going to be to Marco Murray. Good blocking up the middle, weaving his way. Boy, talk about a back with good vision.
Well, vision and patience, pressing the line of scrimmage. That's what our running backs coaches always said, is you got to, in the zone scheme, you got to press this line of scrimmage all the way to the right so that when you cut back, and you cut back straight up the field, which DeMarco Murray does, there's a hole for you.
No hole that time. No gain. It'll be second and close to 10 as they shut down DeMarco Murray. He's featured early. They got away from it. And so far in the game, 80 yards and 16 carries, 2 touchdowns for Murray. So averaging better than 100 yards per contest over the first 2. And now up against the 3-4 defense of the Falcons. Middle's available, boys. He's got it. Oh, stop on a dime. Those are good breaks. He's got it to the 45, and I believe he's got enough for the first down.
This is a Sunday wide receiver right here. Probably in the slot when he gets to the next level. But this guy has special ability on the outside, running against man. He sees the green grass underneath the back end of the coverage, and here OU goes again.
They're going true hurry, going low and driving. Murray for 3, almost 4, close to the 49. So the clock moves close to the 4-minute mark. Just about 11 minutes gone in the third. Oklahoma by 10. And they've got the last 10 points of the ball game after it was tied at 10. Now a little check with me. Here come the signals from the sideline. Murray again. They tried to scrape it away. Did they get the grill? Oklahoma thinks it was a face mask.
It looks like
and
it.
Now
Looked
real
like
late flag for the field judge, and it was probably a face mask.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, 15-yard penalty from end to run, automatic first down.
Good call.
Ricketts reaching in there trying to stop DeMarco Murray. You're not going to have a whole lot of success with arm tackles on this guy anyways. Unfortunately for Air Force, he got a lot of face mask on that one. 15 more yards tacked on, and all of a sudden OU's inside the 35-yard line.
So that's back-to-back mistakes. First the turnover, the first of the game by Jefferson. Now another mistake by the Air Force Academy. Quick little bubble screen. Murray on the outside. Got the block for the wide receiver. And that's Broyles enabling him to get close to another first down. Got about 9 because of the Broyles block.
I love seeing that from a superstar. Ryan Broyles is going to play on Sundays, and yet he goes down and he gets into the legs of the cornerback so that Murray can have the edge. Rimbert there is unable to tackle Murray because of the block of Broyles. I absolutely love the unselfish play from Ryan Broyles.
It'll be 2nd and a yard. Madu into the game. Quickly, Broyles pivots to the sideline. He's got a first down, and there is a continuity now to the Oklahoma offense. Knocked out by Austin Nicholas, a sophomore from Fullerton, California.
You got to keep them out of rhythm because when they find it, they are dangerous. And that's exactly what Matt Wallerstedt, the defensive coordinator of Air Force, told us all week long.
It'll be first down for the 19. Making a miss. Nice run, Moses Madu. Boy, both their running backs, and you talked about it, they don't run themselves out of plays.
A lot of that has to do with the patience and pressing the line of scrimmage. You don't just run yourself into the defense. Find the hole, and then once it's there, explode north and south and get into it.
It'll be 2nd and 4. Madu staying in there and making the most with a flag down on the play where you normally see a hold. It's thrown at the feet of the offensive lineman, Jarvis Jones, big 76.
Offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down.
How about the effort of Madu, though? He looked like he was down.
Well, an incredible run. We were told all week that this guy has been as impressive as the sensational DeMarco Murray. There's the hold right there, right behind the defensive player for Air Force. That's Brian Lindsay. But then the spins and constantly keeping your feet. We talk about it as a defense, equally as important as a running back to keep your feet.
2nd and 14 now for the Sooners. Back at the 23 of the Falcons. Blitz coming. And going to DeJuan Miller inside the 20, down to the 17. Experience over there for a guy that started 8 games last season and had a 12-yard average.
This guy has potential to be a very good wide receiver. 6'4", 220, has the frame, has the athletic ability. He's just trying to find that consistency, both in his route running and catching ability, to find the field consistently for OU.
Well, and now there's depth, though. OU talk about Kenny Stills and some of the other freshmen. So while DeJuan Miller had 36 grabs, tough getting on the field. There's good competition to the wide receiver spot. Miller was the motion man. Screen the other way to DeMarco Murray. To the 10, to the 5, he's in. Touchdown, Oklahoma.
He had a convoy out in front of him on the left side. That big offensive line running the sidewalk on the screen pass. Murray, all he has to do is cut back. He's going to find himself in the end zone for an easy touchdown. You see Hayburn out there. Gabe Eichert is getting a terrific block, and then the cutback and the speed. Defense doesn't have much chance against DeMarco Murray out in the open field.
Jimmy Stevens for the point after. 90 seconds left in the third. And now all Oklahoma. What an explosion. So Oklahoma led it 10-3 at the half. They've come alive here in the third quarter. And Landry Jones playing within himself.
Well,
real
he
comfortable.
he does a nice job of influencing the defense towards his left with his eyes originally. That's when the offensive line is going to be able to get out, and they're going to run the sidewalk, which is right there. They're going to get to the numbers, from the hash to the numbers, run the sidewalk, and then find somebody to put on the ground. At this point, you even see they're looking back to get blocks on the backside, which is going to open up the lane for the cutback, and DeMarco Murray finds himself with an easy lane for a touchdown. That is a screen that is well executed by the Oklahoma offense. And the explosiveness of Murray and the good vision. We've talked about that vision all second half from these running backs, both Madu and Murray. And that's a prime example on the touchdown pass from Landry Jones.
So DeMarco Murray with 3 scores today, 2 on the ground, a third through the air on that screen. And there you see the all-purpose yards, at least rushing and receiving. So a productive second half to start for Stoops and the Sooners. Warzika and Getz waiting back deep. Way has taken out the return game, though, with the long line drives. He's got the wind at his back once again. And out of the reach of Getz into the end zone and out. Let's take a look now at our lot impact player of the week. And it's Mike Muhammad of the Cal Golden Bears, coming off a 52-7 win over Colorado last week at Strawberry Canyon. It's all presented by Acura. And against Colorado, he had his 7th career pick. So as we continue to look at the candidates for the Ronnie Lott Award, our lot impact player of the week presented by Acura.
No surprise, Joel. Sorry that OU forced a turnover there. They've kind of lived on turnovers in the Bob Stoops era, and that leads to a score. It kind of opens this ball game up 27-10.
Yeah, that's points. Even though it's a long drive of 76 yards, it's points off a takeaway. The fumble by Jefferson. Jared, too, still plugging his way, isn't he? He's got 7 on first down. Jim Knox, what's going on downstairs?
All right, Joel, just about to hit the 4th quarter, and looking back at this offensive line, the Sooners, those guys look fresh as a daisy. They came off saying, hey, we're wearing them down. You guys called it right. You know, the undersized defensive line of Air Force really taking its toll going up against the beef here on the offensive line of the Sooners.
Well, Knoxie, they look like a fresh group, at least here in the 3rd. Breaking tackles. There goes Asher Clark. Spinning through arm tackles and finally pulled down by the freshman Tony Jefferson. We talked about it. The focus, the fearless aspect of this team. Right. They're down 17. No big deal.
Well, Asher Clark in high school was a powerlifting champion in the state of Georgia, and he's showing you the strength in his lower half on this run, spinning and the balance, and able to get the ball down the field now across the 50 for Air Force.
You can't relax, can you? Air Force has it. 1st and 10 of the Sooners 46. Halder with the motion man. Wide side. It'll be a pitch. Nothing doing that time. It's DeMontre Hurst putting down Clark, the sophomore from Lancaster, Texas. He played in every game last year as a true freshman, a track guy. We've seen his speed.
Well, and normally you could just say, yeah, nice tackle by DeMontre Hurst, but it took everybody. Tom Hort was in there stopping the fullback. Tony Jefferson forced the pitch from Tim Jefferson, and then Hurst has his responsibility taken up, outside arm free, coming up, tackling the pitch man.
Loss of 5, 2nd and 15, and that's going to be the final snap of the 3rd. Kind of sums it up for the Sooners, though. They have kept the Falcons off schedule for the most part since the first drive of the 2nd half for the Air Force Academy. We'll come right back to Norman, Oklahoma. Final 15 minutes of regulation coming up. And a commanding lead now for the Sooners of 17 as you're watching Big 12 College Football Saturday, presented by Phillips Televisions. It's the start of the 4th quarter in Norman, Oklahoma. Our DirecTV game summary, and a 3rd quarter where Oklahoma certainly picked up the pace. DeMarco Murray, the featured guy, along with Ryan Broyles. No shot there. And after it was tied at 10, it's 17 unanswered points for the Sooners over the last 11 minutes of the 3rd.
And with this offense now, you can't go a possession without scoring if you're Air Force. Very important thus far.
Asher Clark, the motion man, gets it on the toss. And the speed of the Oklahoma defense. Gang tackling on the outside and a loss. Fleming pushed him in there. The cornerback didn't give ground on that side.
And Travis Lewis flying from his will linebacker spot all the way to the boundary. And that's the thing that kills you if you're Air Force, is the speed in pursuit of Oklahoma. And the Big 12 defensive newcomer of the year last year shows you, or excuse me, a couple of years ago, as a freshman, shows you just why he was that.
It'll be 3rd and 15. Jefferson has shown a good arm, and he's got his man Larsica. 1st down inside the 35. Boy, he's got a rifle, and he's hit for a high percentage today. That's now 7 for 12 for Jefferson.
Lewis on the outside, he's the one that's going to have to wall off Warzika. Gets too far outside. That allows that inside track to Warzika, and he's able to catch the ball from Jefferson, but that was a mistake from Travis Lewis.
Misdirection. Warzika wanted to throw it, trying to make a miss, and the outside man, Jamel Fleming, did not bite on that fake. Alert play by Fleming once again, and a gain of only a yard. That's tough on open space.
And disciplined football as well. And he knows that all he's got to do is stay on the outside because he's got guys like Lewis that are pursuing from the inside out. He's just got to keep his outside arm free, and they're going to make the tackle.
It'll be second, a little less than 9. Drive still alive. 2, sliding off tackle. And he's inside the 30 down to the 29. Brings up a 3rd and 3 as we head to L.A. Darren Horton, what's going on?
The Gophers by 18 in the 4th.
Thank you, Darren. They can score with the best of them. And the defense picking it up a little bit now for the Trojans of USC on the home turf of the Golden Gophers. And on a 3rd and about 3, a first down. As the drive continues for the Air Force Academy. And this is the ball game, basically. A drive that started back at their own 20. Just about 2.5 minutes into the 4th, playing catch up, down by 17. They've got a score on each possession now. Good protection, Jefferson, and Mikael Hunter was the intended target. Corner came up Hurst, upset that he didn't get a piece of it. But it was a hot.
This is what's tough if you're Air Force, is Oklahoma is built for the spread offenses of the Big 12, and so they are well schooled in the passing tree, the route combinations that you can possibly throw out there. So when you're only sending one guy out on a pass route, they're going to be right there defending them with more athletic guys.
You look at the scoreboard, a 17-point lead, but Air Force has outgained him. Here comes Jefferson trying to make a miss. Man on his back, though, Travis Lewis. Otherwise, it's an easy first down.
And he had to recover because this looked, from up here, it looked like there was a solid lane for Jefferson to run, and Lewis is going to have to get off the block of Michael Hester, the center for Air Force, and make the play, or else that's a first down for Air Force inside the 15.
It's now 3rd and a little more than 3. Cody Getz goes in motion. It's 2. Spins, I think, enough for the first down. That last little lunge inside the 14. What an effort. Talk about a tough customer.
That's what they say about him. This guy was 2nd team All-Mountain West Conference a year ago, led the team in rushing. He was 4th in the conference in rushing. He was a preseason All-Mountain West selection. Tough customer, and that's what they need out of their fullback.
He averaged 71 a game over the first 2 after 75 a game last season. Warzika trying to beat him wide, makes a miss initially, and then it is Jamel Fleming once again the corner on that side. Boys had a nice series, even though the drive is still alive.
Well, that was big number 90, David King, who had the first shot on Warzika. But the tenacity of the littler Air Force players. I mean, Warzika, he's only 5'9", 180 pounds, taking on these OU players. King is 258.
That was the problem for King, though. He went under it. He couldn't get him. Too small. It'll be 2nd and 8. Banging his way off the right side. First carry, Nathan Walker, the senior from Colorado Springs, at 5'11", 210.
Coaches told us this guy is a consistent guy, gives Jared Two a nice rest as the backup fullback, dependable player, great program guy, does everything right. Shows you with a hard run right there to get within 3rd and 1.
How about Oklahoma? Oklahoma taking a timeout on a 3rd and a little more than a yard. Still a 17-point lead for the Sooners as we come right back to Norman. It's a 17-point lead for Oklahoma, but the Air Force Academy down outside of the 5 of the Sooners, necessitating that Sooner timeout for defense. Next week's UCF, Kansas State. Joel, you and I will be there. And then Oregon, Arizona State, and a good day again at Arrowhead in Kansas City for the Wildcats of Kansas State, 3-0 now. Daniel Thomas, you see his numbers. He's a big reason. He had 234 in their opener. He is a big reason they are 3-0 so far this season. And that is next week on College Football Saturday. And I love going to Manhattan because it's an hour away from my favorite city in Kansas, Salina. The home of Brent Venables, too. And Gene Ansell from Salina, Kansas. So I am headed back to Salina, fortunately. There's 2. He's in. Touchdown, Air Force. We got a game. 10:43 to play. You figure they get 2 more possessions. They had to score on all 3. 1 done.
That's what we said about the 50-yard line of that drive. We said Air Force cannot have any more possessions where they don't score points. What do? They drive down the football field, a great third down conversion to Warzika from Tim Jefferson, and then Jared too with the exclamation point at the end of the drive, pulling them within 11, now trying to make it 10.
Soderberg does exactly that, and they never ever quit. Good to know they're a part and they're working for us.
That's absolutely true.
The Falcons from the Air Force Academy, 27-17, as we'll come right back to Norman. Impressive 80-yard drive by the Air Force Academy and a 5-yard touchdown run with some nice blocking up front for Jared too.
Well, this is what's so effective is you're going to get down blocking from the right side of the line. The defensive end, Jeremy Beal, he never comes all the way in to force that ball to be pulled by Tim Jefferson. Tim Jefferson just reads that 5 technique. And because the 5 technique stayed wide, Jared too gets the football for an easy touchdown.
Boy, the right guard, A.J. Wallerstein.
And Chase Darden.
Yeah,
on that whole right side. But Wallerstein, yes, it starts with him blocking that 1 technique.
Soderberg with the kick, and it's out of bounds. Good field position for Oklahoma. The last thing that Air Force needed was a short field for the Sooners.
You know, we told you Warzika was going to be a player to watch in this second half, and he absolutely was, especially on that last drive. That big third down conversion, a nice run getting around David King, the defensive end, and then all the way in earlier. Jared too gets in for a touchdown, but in large part because Warzika got them down the football field. That third down conversion was as big as it gets for Air Force, with the game on the line, having to put points on the board.
Air Force has had it for 30 minutes, 30 seconds, compared to just about 19, not quite, for the Sooners. Madu in motion, Murray and Madu. The swing out to Moses Madu, and Royals gives him a little bit of a chip. Not enough to get rid of the man, Reggie Rembert, who made the stop.
Reggie Rembert did a great job staying on his feet, like we've said all day long, makes the tackle.
1st and 10 line brought to you by Phillips Televisions. Now the Sooners want to choose some clock. They know it is far from over. Only a 10-point lead. So there's no hurry up in them. Well, they'll go and make the call at the line. Well, that's personnel purposes to keep the defense on the field. Simple handoff, Madu. And he's got the first down across the midfield stripe. So that could effectively chew up another 90 seconds off the clock for the Falcons. So 1st and 10 Sooners.
You know, with 10 minutes left, I think that they're probably, Kevin Wilson is just thinking, let's just run our offense. You know, we won't worry about the clock just yet, because if we score points, that's just as good as limiting an Air Force possession.
But they have been effective on the ground, and that won't hurt either, as Murray is not stopped for a loss or no gain. It looked like he was going to be shut down. He still gets a little more than 2 out of it, and it keeps the clock rolling. Air Force Academy has all 3 timeouts on the board, 2 left for Oklahoma. But total yards 393, 324. Falcons over the Sooners there. Scoreboard's all that counts, granted, but they have been able to stay in the game. Ton of time. DeMarco Murray, he's got the first down. Good pocket protection for Landry Jones against the 3-4.
Starts with the protection. Then it's on the feet of the quarterback and the eyes of the quarterback, looking down the football field. As soon as he doesn't see anything wide open, he gets it right back to his check down. Just so happens to be DeMarco Murray, one of the most electric guys in college football. That's a good check down to have if you're Landry Jones.
Not a bad safety valve.
That's a great safety valve.
1st and 10 to the 37 of Air Force. Score here could put it away for the Sooners. It's again Moses Madu. Got to take it with you. And they're going to say he ran and dropped the ball. It was a catch. No gain, basically. And he had some real estate if he doesn't drop it.
Second time we've seen that from Madu. Takes his eyes off the football. And yeah, he did have some real estate, and that's why he took his eyes off this football. The misdirection, fake to Murray, out to Madu, and you can see his eyes already down the field. He never had it. Probably should have been incomplete, but it's, you know, doesn't really matter. It's still 2nd and 10.
little more than 8 to play. Tight ends haven't been involved at all today, have they? Rattery had 1 catch. This is Broyles. Little kick block from Stills. Can't make a miss, though. And on the outside, John Davis. That prevented a first down run for Ryan Broyles after the catch.
Very smart player John Davis is. He added 15 pounds in this offseason, getting ready for this his junior year out of Ohio. But a nice open field tackle on Ryan Broyles.
That'll be 3rd and 8. Boy, what a play coming up for Air Force. He can run for it. Instead, throws it behind Millard. That'll stop the clock with 7:26 to play. And did it get touched on its way to Millard?
I think it did get tipped there. Number 86.
Gardner got it.
I think Gardner got a piece of that, but still, even if he, I mean, it didn't knock it off course that much. That's a bad pass.
It'll be 4th and 8. And will they go for it? Or just try to get the Falcons to make a mistake, jump? No, they will on 4th and 8. Down the seam, out of the reach of Ryan Broyles.
And another rushed throw from Landry Jones in a pressure situation on 4th down. And now the excitement and the momentum are on the Air Force side. We said that Landry Jones needs to settle his feet and follow through. If he waits another half beat, Broyles is running down the field wide open, and he's going to be able to go right into the end zone. As it is, 10 points away, are the Air Force have the ball after this.
We welcome you back once again to Norman, Oklahoma. And we'd like to express our sincere sorrow to the family of West Orange star quarterback Reggie Garrett from Orange, Texas, who passed away last night. He threw a couple of touchdown passes against Jasper, collapsed, rushed to the hospital. Unfortunately, they could not save the young man. And a couple of Sooners playing today with heavy hearts who played their high school ball. It's James Haynes, the defensive back, and Trey Franks, the wide receiver. They know all about Reggie Garrett and what a person he was. So our condolences, our thoughts with the family of Reggie Garrett. We are back ready for a key drive for Air Force. And it's the fullback too. And he gets 5. It's interesting. Joel and I talked about it while we were away. Joel Myers, Joel Platt down to the sideline. Jim Knox. Why did Oklahoma not pooch it, make it a long field? And that's a question to be asked, and put it down inside the 10 and a long field for Air Force.
There are 2 enemies for Air Force, the clock and yards, because of the offense they run. Why not take both?
Big run. Asher Clark denied the first down by about a foot. It's a great play by McGee. He just jerked him back because otherwise he's going forward and he's across the marker, and you never know.
And Air Force plays with a fast tempo anyways, but with 6:40, now 6:39, and ticking down in this game, the clock is a factor for the Falcons.
Going to be 3rd and about a foot. You have to believe it's going to be the fullback too. It is. He's got it. Across the 46 out to the 47. So it stops for the movement of the chain. 6:24 to play. All the timeouts are still left for Air Force. 2 remaining for Oklahoma in a 10-point ball game. But only basically 2 possessions at the most left for Air Force. So they've got to score on both. They just got it done to their last drive, an 80-yard drive and a 5-yard run. Touchdown by Jared 2. Can they get the explosive play? Jefferson's looking in that direction and fires to his wideout. It's complete in front of Fleming. Man, taking it in for the Air Force Academy. That's Brandon Hernice, wide receiver out of Scottsdale, Arizona, sophomore, making his first catch of the day.
Faking it right to the fullback. Good protection by the offensive line. Tim Jefferson delivers a strike. Almost for a first down. 2nd
and 9. It is a first down. 2 again. Stopping the clock. It's down to the 40. So back-to-back first downs. 5:37 left. If they can get a score in the next 90 seconds, it could be real interesting.
They're not built for that, but yes, you never know. You keep pounding that fullback into the middle of the line of scrimmage, and maybe something opens up on the outside.
Not made for playing catch-up football. Getz goes in motion. Jefferson looking in that direction. He's got a lot of real estate up the middle. There goes Jefferson for a first down again. Good recognition by the quarterback once the wideouts were taken away over on that side of the field. And He takes it to the 26.
I don't know if there's a guy in college football that makes as many decisions as Tim Jefferson. This in the passing game, he decides to tuck it. Good decision, a lot of real estate, like you said, runs for a first down, and more importantly, stops that clock.
It's to the 26 quickly from their own 35. Different fullback this time, Nathan Walker. Only 2, maybe 3. Jim Knox, what's the latest?
Nelson, the strong safety, Jonathan Nelson of Oklahoma, he's out of the game. Knee injury right now, guys. He hasn't returned since coming off the field a few moments ago.
Okay, we saw Javon Harris in there earlier for him. Thanks, Knoxie. It'll be 2nd and 7. Fake it, now in trouble and out of it. Tim Jefferson torpedoed by Alexander and Lewis. That'll take you off schedule.
Well, Brent Venables said, you know, you can't just dial up blitz after blitz against this team because they'll beat you in the back end. But when you do dial up a blitz, it's got to be at the perfect time. Travis Lewis shooting through that B gap, and they're able to get in there and have a big sack for Air Force. Again, yardage and time are the 2 enemies for the Air Force Academy. Anytime you can get on the plus side of either of those, if you're OU, that's a good decision. That's a great call by Brent Venables.
It'll be 3rd down, 15. You see the numbers, they're 3rd down conversions, but mostly 3rd and short goes Asher Clark. Got the first down to the 15-yard line on a little deception and delay.
Unbelievable. 3rd and 15. The biggest game of Troy Calhoun's career at Air Force in the 4th quarter at OU, and he hands it off to Asher Clark. He's been battling that ankle all week. Don't see any effects on that first down run.
Clock moving, 3:48 and counting. Get it out on the edge. Hold'em into the 10 to the 5. Dives. Is he there? Touchdown Air Force. Do you believe it? 3:40 to play, and they drive 65 yards in about 3 minutes. They are stunned in Norman despite the fact the Sooners are still on top.
This was a wide pitch. You see, he pitches it all the way out, 2 yards outside the hash, blocking on the outside, getting the defenders down to the ground. Jamel Fleming hit the ground, and then Halderman extending the ball for the pylon. We saw him earlier in the game lower the shoulder on Jonathan Nelson, and Halderman again a tough run. 5'11", 175 pounds. Selling out for the pylon, gets into the end zone, and Air Force.
Now, did he get in? This is definitely a reviewable play. It is under review right now.
He absolutely got in. If the pylon is touched, you're in by the football. That's a touchdown all the way for Air Force, and they'll be attempting an extra point to get within 3.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
3:39 left. And now another question coming after the extra point. Onside, you don't need to. You have 3 timeouts left.
Your defense has been hit or miss. You know, OU's either been 3 and out or they've gone down and scored a touchdown. So the way that he's gambled with 4th downs and 3rd downs, handing the ball off, it wouldn't surprise me if Troy Calhoun.
First Soderbergh has, he's got to make it a 3-point game.
Got it.
Yeah, if he doesn't get this, you'll onside it. He's got it. So now it's not a 4-point game. It's only a field goal you need. You don't necessarily have to gamble with an onside kick because there's a lot of time and 3 timeouts left. We'll discuss that when we come back. But right now, the story, the #1 team in the nation in rushing, doing it again and trailing the #9 team by 3, 27-24. That is really a good look. Big 12 College Football Saturday presented by Phillips Television. So amazing you won't be able to take your eyes off of it. We can't take our eyes off of Memorial Stadium's field right now. It is that good in Norman. 27-24 Oklahoma. But they're about to get the football back from Air Force after Air Force scored on another strong drive. Our eHarmony game numbers. You see what they've done on the ground. They average 423 a game coming in, and against a very quick, good defense, 351. Big numbers. Whistles before the kick as Oklahoma look for the onside kick. They didn't even have anybody back deep. And a timeout by the Sooners. They've only got 1 on the board now. So that last touchdown, 15 yards. The senior from
Oklahoma.
Katy, Texas on the receiving end.
Well, and Jamel Fleming on the right side of your formation, you see him looking into the middle. He is not on the outside on the flank of this defense. And then the pitch gets all the way out to this point of the field and even further. And that's the problem. Now, there's nobody out here for Oklahoma. And Fleming, he's going to get blocked and chopped down. He's the contained player. As soon as he hits the ground, it's a race for the pylon, and Halderman wins it, gets in for the touchdown.
As you said, a lot of containment. Jim Knox, do you have any containment for us?
I think a little bit. I tell you what, this Air Force offense playing a heck of a ball game. You look at these guys on the bench, and you know they don't get too high, they don't get too low. Just the same business-like approach ever since they kicked off this game, guys. They can hardly wait to get the ball back.
Yeah, Jim, I think Barry Switzer said it best when he talked about their GPAs.
That's right.
Bright group, nothing bothers them.
Well, bright group, perspective. We talked about perspective.
Right.
They definitely have it, and let's not forget they're military trained now. I mean, this is no big experience for them. This is not hard. This is just a day to go out there and have some fun with your buddies.
And they're enjoying and savoring the opportunity to face the number 9 team in the nation, trailing by only 3. Came in huge underdogs. Soder good kicks it away over the head of Broyles and out of the end zone. So now a long field, but let's face it, Oklahoma basically needs 2 to 3 first downs to run out the clock.
4-minute offense, but you're only up by 3 points. This is a situation where your quarterback has got to manage the clock. And if your offensive line is worth their salt, they're going to go out there and win this game for you by being able to just hand the football to DeMarco Murray and Moses Madu. It is their time. The 5 up front have got to win this game for Oklahoma with 3:39 left.
So DeMarco Murray's in there. They've got Millard on the hip of the left tackle. That's the fullback. He's the one who slides into the backfield. Murray bouncing across the 24, popped at the 25, gain of 5. So good gain, and Air Force is going to use their first timeout. So we talked about the winning streak on their home field of 32 consecutive, maybe even more impressive in 12 seasons under Bob Stoops. 68-2 here in Norman, Oklahoma. That's hard to believe.
Well, that's definitely hard to believe. It's hard to do. The 32 games in a row. And Air Force comes in here with a gritty bunch, a talented bunch, a more talented bunch that Fisher DeBerry had in his last year a few years ago. Troy Calhoun came in, Joel, and he said, we need speed on the outside. And they were able to get that. As evidence, we've had Warzika had big plays. Halderman has had big plays on the outside. A few different receivers have caught third downs. And then the cowbell, Tim Jefferson, he's the one that starts it all. He's the engine. He makes the decisions. The big decision on the last drive to keeping himself. Asher Clark shows you some speed on 3rd and 15 for the conversion. And then Halderman with the race to the pylon wins it. Gets in and draws the Academy within 3 points of OU. 32 home wins in a row for OU. On the line now, 2nd and 6. 3:32 left with a 3-point lead.
Well, when you think about Air Force, talk about a group with a lot of guts, though. And that 3rd and 15, they run the football. Most teams wouldn't consider it.
Guts and integrity, and I mean, you can throw all of those on this team.
On 2nd down, Murray slides his way to the marker, and I think he's got the first down. He does across the 30. That'll stop it momentarily for the movement of the chains. It's the 11th 100-yard game of the career of DeMarco Murray, with that gain of a little more than 5.
Now you're in a milk the clock mode. Instead of being in that sugar huddle at the line of scrimmage, you're in the huddle back with Landry Jones, and he's going to wait, and he's going to hold his team in. They break at about 18. I'd like to see him snap it at about 5 of the play clock. Now it's at 10. He's going to get the play from the sidelines. This is clock management. This is managing the game from a quarterback's perspective.
They'll take it down even better. Snapped it at about 2. Murray taking it on Davis, the safety. A stoppage here. 2nd timeout used by Air Force. That'll kill the clock with 2:50 to play. So as I said, 2 to 3 first downs. Yep. Only 1 timeout left. And maybe 2 more first downs, and it's over for Oklahoma.
Now you're getting down to it. This is where those 40 pounds per man and 2 inches per man, are they going to take their toll on the Air Force defensive front? The Oklahoma offensive line, 40 pounds and 2 inches per man on average, bigger than the Air Force defensive line. DeMarco Murray, he's a sensational running back. He's the guy they're going to be giving the ball to now, and he's been very good all day long. I've been impressed with his vision and his ability to get behind his pads, get north and south, and get yards that are tough yards. We know what he can do, Joel, in the open field. You know, we see him out of the backfield on the screen pass, being able to cut back. Yeah, we know he's explosive there, but his ability to get skinny, get behind his pads, and get those tough yards are what has impressed me today watching OU football.
Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns already today. That is 3rd best in total touchdowns in Oklahoma history. He's trailing only Billy Sims and Steve Owens. 2 pretty good names in Oklahoma Sooner football history. Now on 2nd and 6, it's outside of the 34. It's Murray. And dropped down by Hennessy after a gain of about 3 in the final timeout taken. So a first down here, and it's all over. But this is the key for Air Force, using their final timeout. Can they get the stop on 3rd down? And DeMarco Murray over the century mark. That was his 24th carry. 24 carries for now officially, with that one, take him 2 more yards up to 106. 3 big scores. Well, Oklahoma's been at home. Now they hit the road. They've got the Bearcats of Cincinnati next week. And then we all look forward to it. October 2nd, the Red River Battle. That'll be a lot of fun.
Well, and both squads, you know, trying to find themselves a little bit. I think we can say that about OU, even though they're more experienced maybe than a Texas squad. We were down in Austin, Joel, last week, saw Texas struggle a little bit in the first half. We see OU, they struggle a little bit in the first half. I don't want to take anything away from Air Force, but they've done a heck of a job, but I'm looking forward to that matchup. And as we look ahead for Air Force, you know, they're going to have a tough schedule. Obviously, that Navy game is what stands out to me. Troy Calhoun has not won the Commanders-in-Chief trophy yet as the head coach of Air Force. He's got the squad to do it this year. That Navy game looms large on the 2nd.
This is the ball game for the Air Force Academy. 3rd and 3. Oklahoma has it at their own 37. Sooners convert, they will prevail. Landry Jones slides Millard back into the backfield, the fullback. And will he throw for it? Yep, and he's got it. First down, Oklahoma. And that's Kenny Stills, the first-year freshman from Encinitas, California.
And for the first time today, Landry Jones heeds the advice of his quarterback coach, and he stays patient in the pocket, allows the play to develop, and Stills to find the hole in the zone defense. He knows he's going to get hit. He got whacked on the play, but he stays in there and delivers a strike to Stills and moves the chain. And now with the clock running, you got to milk the clock. Looks like it's a win for OU. I like the way he kind of came back in this second half. He definitely, Joel, played better in the second half than he did in the first.
He's just more settled. We talked about the way he kind of rushed things and the ball sailed on him. You talked about he was off balance. Murray slides for 4 or 5 more, but I think overall what you brought up, that word balance, was there in the second half. It wasn't really there in the first half. Well, he was never settled.
We saw him hopping. Anytime you see a quarterback hopping in the pocket, they're not going to be balanced. If they're moving with their feet and their back foot is under themselves, that's what, if I ever teach a quarterback, Joel, their back foot has got to move under themselves, and that's what essentially moves you. Their back foot moves first. And he's been much better in the second half, and because of that, he's thrown more accurately.
There's Josh Heupel, who's so loved here in Norman. It's real similar, and you and I talked about it yesterday at practice, like Major Applewhite in Texas.
Very similar.
Here's Murray, just has to hang on to the football. That's all that they want right now is security. Minute 16 and counting. As the clock continues to roll, Air Force out of timeouts.
Well, and even if Air Force gets this ball back, it's going to be inside of, well, about 30 seconds, about right in there. After this play, maybe even all the way down inside of that, way inside.
Because of the punt.
Yep.
So Oklahoma actually can take it all the way down, still utilize their final timeout, stop the clock with a second, and I'm talking about a second left on the play clock. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. And then run third down, keep the ball on the ground, and still have a full play clock to take it down.
And that should do it on third down now with 34 seconds.
Right.
All you got to do is run a play in the 40-second clock. You know, that'll run out the clock. So OU
get ready to go on the road. But you brought up finding themselves.
Yeah.
And both Oklahoma and Texas have played better than 12 first-year freshmen. So they're still trying to find out identities, personalities of the team. And Bob Stoops told us earlier this week, he said it's real early for this team.
Well, it's early for this team. Plus, I think that this Air Force team doesn't give you a great standard if you're Oklahoma. You don't know that much about. I mean, it's not a shock to me that this is a close game at 27-24 because of the style that Air Force plays. So OU, they've spent so much time getting ready for Air Force, and the tangible things that they can actually take from this game and apply them next week or down the road, almost zero.
Tough.
Almost zero.
You never see this kind of
They're so
team.
different. They're so different. So Bob Stoops is going to get his ball club ready, and DeMarco Murray will be leading his Sooners out to Cincinnati.
But is his look, his lean, everything about his game look like Adrian Peterson?
Well, Adrian was a little bit fiercer.
Well,
as a runner.
he's bulked up. DeMarco's got the guns now.
Yeah,
he's a much stronger tailback, and hopefully he can stay healthy because that's the only thing that's held him back here. He's missing games. Take a knee, and it is official now. It is, well, personal foul. Didn't take that one.
False start. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, third down.
Well, they still have to take a snap.
My man Tyler Evans, he's got to go over to his center, Ben Hayburn, and say, why didn't you snap the ball? That was on one. Landry even took a knee. Ben Hayburn didn't snap the ball, so.
He's from Stratford, Missouri. I wonder if that's close to Excelsior Springs, Missouri. And a knee has been taken, and it is official. It's all over in Norman, Oklahoma. A 3-0 record for the Oklahoma Sooners, but some anxious moments after they took a 27-10 lead, because there is absolutely, and it's good to know, that the Falcons from the Air Force Academy have no quit at all.
Well, you see the coaches exchanging a handshake there at midfield, and Troy Calhoun has got himself a very good football team from the Air Force Academy. And Joel, on a personal note, my dad being a veteran of the Vietnam War and serving his country, I just want to thank all of you who have watched our program on the Armed Forces Network around the world, and we wish you all the safety, and you're in our thoughts and prayers every night. These kids from Air Force will be serving our country not only now but after they're done, and it's definitely a good scene to see everybody shaking hands down there.
Yeah, we thank everybody on AFN today for protecting our freedom so we can enjoy this afternoon in Norman, Oklahoma. Downstairs, Jim Knox.
All right, thank you, Joe. Coach, you said this is going to be a tough team to prepare for due to that option. You got to also be pleased, your defense held tough there in the second half, but also the offense got going in the second half.
Well, the offense really key to eat up time, and the few drives that they have were big. And defensively, we weren't near as good in the second half as we were in the first. And they did a nice job executing. I knew they would. They do an excellent job, Coach Calhoun and his staff, and their players play hard, and they're really technique-wise, what they do is good.
You got a lot of respect for this Air Force program. Before the game, you got on the Jumbotron and encouraged the Sooner fans to give them an ovation when they took the field. That's a lot of respect right there.
Oh, absolutely. These young men are really special. When they had to do what they have to do beyond playing ball and going to school is you have to appreciate their commitment, their sacrifices, and all of the servicemen across the country. So we're proud to play them. I knew it'd be tough. They're a tough bunch, and we're proud of them.
All right, Coach. Congratulations on the win. Joel?
All right, thanks, Jim. Yeah, the respect that we all have for the Falcons of the Air Force Academy. And as Bob Stoops just said, what they do besides the academics and everything else involved in being a part of that program besides football.
Well, like I said, they're a very good football team. They're going to do a heck of a job in the Mountain West Conference this year. But Oklahoma continuing to get ready for that Big 12 schedule. That showdown with Texas just a couple of weeks away.
So we'll get ready for that showdown you're talking about. The Sooners, though, taking on Cincinnati up in Cincinnati. And